What's up, everybody? This is Carrick with ACG, and I'm here with Silver and Johnny from Johnny Plays Live, premier League of Legends streamer. If you guys get a chance, check out his channel. Probably some of the best League of Legends content I've never watched, but I bet you it's the best League of Legends content that is out there. Actually, I did watch those first, the big long ones.
Going to say, yeah.
Yeah, those were really good. And thanks to Silver for stepping in and joining. You all will all notice that Silver is suddenly high def. Silver decided to jump in to the current, I guess you would say, I was going to say the future, but really not. It's just he decided to finally get a webcam that wasn't a fucking postage stamp and some kind of random slathering of butter on his lens. But no, he stepped into the HD world, man. He's upgraded. It's AI upscaling. Silver is AI now. That's just all it is.
I don't know about you, but I was not ready for how aggressively blue Silver's eyes are. I just feel like I'm being hit. Like, you know, you're sort of like that frog in Futurama, you know?
Not only that, but he's got the little blue shock of color behind his chair that's really blue too.
The detail popping now.
It goes to show you that, like, what resolution does to everything. You know, the idea that it's just like polygons or something like that. It's like, no, man, especially when you start, because you just have such a richer look and color to everything. It's very cool. Hope everybody is doing amazing. Who are getting a chance to watch. If you do not get a chance to watch and you're just listening, thanks as well to everybody who sits down and yaks with us every Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. I also do a side podcast. This last one was about a bunch of stuff. Hell Is Us. It was about some business industry shit. It was actually that was a really fun podcast. It was a short one. It was an hour, but yeah, if you guys get a chance, check those out as well. They don't go up on YouTube for the most part, at least at this particular time. So all of that stuff out of the way. What should we talk about first? You guys want to just skip what we've been playing for now? Sure. Maybe hit that later and talk, just because we do have a couple big games and some news to try to get through. So Silksong
finally
broke Steam. Like, just broke it. Which sort of scares me for, like, the future games, because it's not going to be the only biggest game out there that's, you know, releasing or anything like that. But yeah, broke Steam, did really well. Thousands upon thousands, 500,000, I think, people playing it. What did you guys think? Either one of you guys get this game?
Not at launch, no.
Not at launch. Okay. So I did, and I also watched some people in our streams stream it for a while. And yeah, it's Silksong. It's Hollow Knight too. It's like
Hollow Knight.
There was absolutely zero surprises for what that game was. And to me, that's fine. You know, I did hear some people that maybe they're thinking, maybe because of when it was announced versus now, they were thinking stuff was going to be added or something. I don't quite know, but it seems to be that most people are pretty happy with it. I haven't really heard a huge amount of, like, massive feedback other than the numbers being super high, which is good feedback. What I'm saying is I don't think people played it enough to be like, okay, it's my game of the year or anything like that. What I have heard is, you know, the way you play, each person can encounter things at a different rate, you know, just like a lot of these Metroidvanias. Seems like a lot of them are defeating different bosses first, second, and third, or at least second and third. I saw a couple of people going through it in a different route. Johnny had it. What did you say, Johnny, about you didn't like the needle, or you thought the needle was a down? What was that? You thought the needle was a downgrade?
Yeah, because in the first one,
I'll be right
have
back.
A sword.
I'm listening. I'm just moving this. Go ahead.
The first Hollow Knight, you are like a knight with a sword, and this one, I think you're a lady. At least you have a skirt you're wearing, and you have a needle. So it just feels like a needle is a downgrade from a sword, despite it being longer technically. Silver, what do you think?
I mean, it worked for Arya Stark, right, in Game of Thrones.
Well, but that was only a needle in name, wasn't it? I mean, that thing will absolutely ruin you.
Wasn't Needle the name of the Lord of the Rings sword too?
No, that's Sting.
Sting, needle,
good.
tip.
Yeah.
Sting,
close.
Needle, tip. Yeah, just the tip.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at some of the Hollow Knight graphics when I was doing the thumbnail for this, and yeah, I saw it looked like he had a sword sometimes. It might have switched weapons. I don't remember enough about Hollow Knight to even tell you what happened. But I do have to say that the design for this character I like, but there's something very, man, I hate saying, I fucking hate this word. Whatever a word is that's cozy, that doesn't mean, or that doesn't sound like the word cozy. I fucking hate that word, but there's something about the comfortable. Yeah, there's something about, pleasant would be better. There's something pleasant about that main character in the first one that I really liked. And in this one, it does not have that. Not in a bad way. I like the character's design, actually. But I noticed that when I was looking, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm sort of drawn to that, to that first character, like Johnny was saying.
I would say, though, I was a lot more scared of needles as a kid than I was scared of swords.
Yeah, well, that's true. Much higher chance of a random person needling you, like in a sketchy park, than randomly, claymore. Like if that were to happen, you'd have to watch out. Flamberger sword. Yeah, man. It looks like it's doing phenomenal. Like I said, it sort of broke. What do you call it? Sort of broke Steam. A lot of games do these days, or at least cause it to congest. Go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna. Well, first of all, I'm being corrected. It's a nail in the first one.
Yeah, that's apparently what Deb was saying, but I didn't know which one. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
It kind of looked like a sword to me. Yeah. But I remember the last time this happened with Steam was when they did a big sale on Steam Deck OLED, I believe. At least that's when I got mine, and that also collapsed Steam. It doesn't happen very often at all. No, so it is.
It used to pretty much every Steam sale, it would crash on the first day of the Steam sale. That used to be pretty regular, but they sort of fixed that. So it's been a while since I've experienced it.
They've sort of figured out their issues by this point. I mean, it's only been like 11 years. At some point, you got to figure it out. I mean, overall, I think it's pretty rare that we have Steam issues. You'll get a congestion. You'll get people saying, oh, it's not at the speed I expected or something like that, or it's stuck on loading. But this was having an issue with the actual, the loading page wasn't working. There were issues with the page itself, that kind of stuff. So glad it got fixed so everybody could jump in and play it. Anybody in chat, what are your thoughts of it overall? Like, and have you any bosses, without spoiling anything for anybody, any bosses you've liked or disliked? You can just say the number if you want. I will say, I think in general, I've enjoyed what I've played. It's been a very small amount, but the control and stuff like that is pretty good. The thing is, it does what every one of these does, and it unlocks moves that are requisite to get to some places or feel like they're requisite to get to some places. And so you do that thing where you're sort of caught bouncing off of shit going, can I do this? Is this a test of skill, or is this a skilled item requirement?
Yeah. And it's like a gate or a...
Yeah. Yeah. Wall. And I don't know about you guys. Obviously, it's not even a complaint. I guess it's a quibble. But because there's so many games of this sort now, it's a little Dark Soulsian to me, where it feels samey when that happens. When I'm like, okay, I'm at a spot that's going to require an item or a skill, and then you test around for a half an hour going, okay, I can't bounce off of this bug and onto the back of this rock and over to this wall. So I must need an item, which means I need to go left instead of right, which is the way I went. And that was one complaint or discussion point that was occurring, I noticed in our Discord when people were playing it. They're like, oh yeah,
I mean that's very much
backtracking. It is. I think it's just with so many of them. And this is one of the things I think people just thought might not be there because it had been worked on for so long. But it's like it had been worked on for so long because they didn't really build out their team. They just sort of kept it the same size, supposedly, and it just took time. They weren't adding stuff. I think we're all accustomed to a lot of ads in games, if you know what I mean. Like if a game sits for a while, you expect some modern new things to be added. That's not what they were doing. They were making the game they wanted to make, which I applaud them. I have no issue with that. I think it's a smart way to go for them. You don't want to be too weird, right? With their game in particular. Can you imagine if they did change things up? You'd probably have some issues.
There would be a backlash for that.
I think so.
At that point.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, it's awesome to see that it got out, because I don't know about you guys. I feel like it was nobody knows. Fuck, it's in your house. Like that's how I feel about Silksong. There was like there was no information about release, no information about release. Oh, guess what? It's coming. And you're just like, boom. And then I guess I forgot it had been announced originally for Game Pass. So people being able to just jump in, that's pretty goddamn sweet, man. That's pretty goddamn
You're
sweet.
right. It was pretty quick because they hadn't given a date, I think, before this Gamescom.
I don't think so.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So that was a small amount of time. It's almost like when you think you're fine and suddenly you realize you have to go to the toilet, like without any warning, and you're just like, gotta go, you know.
Oh, dude, I've done that. You know, or had it done to me where you're in the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth, and your roommate's in the door, framed in a doorway of ill light, and he's like, and you're all, I got you. I'll move. Go ahead, because you know that it's like it's going to happen, whether you're in here with me or not. You can hold my hand if you want, but it's going to happen. That's how fast this went. It was just like, you know. APIMB says 3 bros selling 12 million of the first game. They can take their time. Set for life. Oh man, brother, I love your optimism. That is not how money works, nor is it how the split on Steam, nor is it how debt is accrued and paid off. 12 million does not mean, unfortunately, that they're set for life. But goddamn, I absolutely applaud your optimism. I wish it were so. I wish it were so.
It's cuts all the way down. It's like it's Steam. There's taxes. There's
there's Steam taxes. There's like, the publisher stuff that they originally, not publisher, but their original debts that they borrowed against, you know, to make the game in the first place. There's all kinds of shit. Like it's
like they start taking cuts of the pie. When it gets to you, it's like a slice.
Living Legend #1 in chat, CA $5. He says, nothing beats Friday chill streams like this. Perfect way to start the weekend. Good vibes and energy. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. That's, I mean, I'm sure I'll bitch about something, but right now, chill. Actually, I have something to bitch about. So yeah, right now, chill. Name tabs. It's less than 17 bargain. Yes, that is absolutely true. It's pretty crazy how it's really not an expensive game, man. It's going to sell a ton just by price alone, you know? And I think
the fact that it's not pushing beyond what the first was, like you're saying, helps because people know exactly what to expect. It's not more expensive as a result of that. So it kind of like works perfectly because people already know whether they like it or not.
Can I tell you guys, honestly, too, the greatest thing? I think the greatest thing is sort of the discussion behind it. $17. Look at the cost of Game Pass. Very smart pricing for that game. It's like you either buy it or you get Game Pass and you feel like you got a deal and you get other games. There's almost no way to come out of that with a bitch. I mean, somebody's going to complain. What I mean, though, is it seems to have worked out for everybody because you have the people who might look at it and say, listen, I can do Game Pass, but there's no games right now that I'm interested in or whatever. I'm just going to buy it. And then other people who, like last night, we had a bunch of people in chat going, man, I don't know if it's for me. And it's like, well, it's on Game Pass. Oh, is it? Well, then I'll grab it on Game Pass and then I'll buy it and it's like, dude, that's pretty magical in today's lean days. Sully, $10 super chat. I'm in the market for a new controller. What are some of your favorites? Been looking at the Razer Wolverine V3. Thanks, praise, Sam Hain. So I have Sam Hain. I have a couple. Johnny's got a couple. I'm sure Silver may have a couple. I would honestly suggest probably Power A if you can go with wired because they are ridiculously long lasting. They have all kinds of setups for them. That most are wired. They now have a wireless one. I will say this, if you're getting a new controller, please look at the Reddit latency for sticks input Google spreadsheet. So what that is the spreadsheet where people are testing the response of the sticks, which is rare. So some of the biggest names fail here, including Razer has some piece of shit, super, super low latency sticks. So does Xbox. So does PlayStation. A lot of their third-party companies, their latency on their sticks is quite low. And I bought one without looking at that. And while I love
low or high?
Sorry, quite high. Thank you.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I bought one that is quite high, as in bad. And
so you would notice that
noticeable. Yeah.
If you're like aiming or, you know.
very happy with the controller otherwise, but the moment I grabbed an Xbox controller and played side by side with that one, I was like, oh, whoa. Damn. Like, that's actually physically noticeable, especially with the sticks. And I think the reason is your brain can see, this is going to sound really weird, but your brain, even out of the peripheral vision, whatever, can see a stick. And there's that reaction of reality seeing the stick moving right and left. And if it doesn't attune correctly, it's different than a button, which you can't see pressed down because you're going away from, you're like pressing a button down. It's very hard to see how far and how deep you are on that button. Yeah. But I noticed right away. John R. also says 8-Bit Do makes, or Do, I don't know how they do that, makes solid controllers. They do. They make phenomenal controllers. Sometimes more expensive. What about you guys? Any controllers that you're really happy with?
I mean, I've had poor experiences with Razer's peripherals myself.
Right.
Like not necessarily gamepads, but just gaming peripherals in general. For me, particularly a mouse I bought that lasted like 3 months before it broke, which was not optimal. But I mean, I've basically just gone with. We don't have a huge selection here in Denmark, unfortunately. Available, so I basically just go with whatever's available here for
which includes the Xbox controller itself, I'm assuming, or the PlayStation controllers. Yeah, which aren't terrible at all. I mean, they're just a little expensive, I think. What about you,
right,
Johnny?
Well, I play with the Elite, and I've had 2 of these, and I love the feel and stuff, but I don't really recommend it in the sense that the price is not good.
Yeah,
So, but with that said, it does have a premium feel. I enjoy it. And, it used to be that it was one of the few that had the back paddles. I use these quite a lot. What I do is I replace the click, the L3 or R3 with the back paddles. Works phenomenal for me. Now you have a lot of other options that give you the paddles, like scuffed. You have a lot of these. So I'll check some of those out. What I like is that they always come with warranty for, I think it's like 3 years. So if one of the buttons stops working or you have issues, because people do have issues with these, they will like just send you a replacement.
Yeah.
With no questions asked. And I've verified that a couple times. So that's nice.
Which means
both of those that I've owned have had an issue. The prior one was the bumper. This one now, the A button is kind of getting stuck. So yeah, I mean, you might run into issues. And it's not just me, by the way. It's huge swaths of people complain about it. But, mixed.
Sorry. Yeah, mixed.
No,
I would agree.
Mixed.
Jay says Power A is crazy cheap and great. Yeah, I think in fact Power A sort of became a thing in our Discord for a while, where like a couple of us got them. We're like, holy Jesus Christ, these things have lasted forever. And I sort of forgot it was a Power A. I, just thought it was an Xbox controller because most of them look identical. And then Power A has sort of exploded out into some custom ones. I will say also, I agree with Johnny. First of all, I think changing the sticks in to the back buttons is the equivalent of changing like torture to a hug. The sticks in is one of the worst designs in human history and should be removed. It's not only mechanically insufficient for feedback, it's actually mechanically bad, and you've got another membrane or another thing that can go bad in the stick. It really is a terrible design. It's not as bad as like USB-C with its little tiny itsy bitsy fucking piece of shit dick support or whatever. You can't say it because of the blue screen. But it is it is pretty bad. And like overall, I would say the only thing to watch out for is, like Johnny said, warranties, right? Because warranties are
they're a big deal.
They're a big deal. And just get a warranty, whatever, and then feel free to return it if you have any issues. I've had people feel bad. You got people like a Moodski who would return something at any time, right? And I'm not calling him out. He's joked about it in the chat. He will return something right away. But I also have some friends who feel bad for returning. I'm like, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I've always been in that group.
I have too, but I'm like, I pay like if I pay over, let's say I pay over $49 for hardware,
I stop feeling bad at a certain point.
At this point,
at
this point, I'm like, I think I'm going to return this POS, if I have an issue. You know what sucks for me?
Yeah.
One of the greatest cosmetic adjustments we've seen in controllers for me are the hard shell replacements. So there's a company online that has all kinds of hard shell replacements. They have a Critical Role one with a 20-sided dice, and it's dark red, crimson, almost like blood. They have the tsunami wave art from Japan. I got them all. Both controllers that I put them on have a sticking trigger now. Not because of that, by the way. In no way, shape, or form connected. Because you don't even touch the trigger. You literally just pop it off, put the new one on. Just bad timing. But I got them all put together, played a couple days, and pushed the trigger down, and I can literally let go of it and count to 5. And then the trigger's like, dum.
So is it like the faceplate? You just remove the...
It replaces the faceplate. I can grab one in a second.
Oh, wow.
They're beautiful, by the way.
So you can actually just remove this thing
Solar bought
with
some
tools?
Yeah, it comes. This one comes with a little plastic grommet that you go in, and of course, every YouTube is going to be like, so all you do is you flip it over on its back, and you blah blah blah. It's like watching your dad gut an elk the first time, and then he's like, "You can do it now," and you're all, "Dude, no, that's not the way this works." I was
lost at step 2.
Yeah, I was lost when you cut its anus. But they're great. They are fantastic looking shells. There's some of the fuck it. I'll grab it.
Let's do it. Silver, do you have any with back paddles? You ever played around with back paddles?
I have for like the old, very old controllers, like N64 had a back paddle.
But not like Xbox or.
So I don't know if my green screen is going to allow this because I'm green screening out my sick
dog.
So
the new Switch Pro controller
that
has
one,
back paddle.
And then these are a little far away, but I'll post some pictures. And then that's going to be too far away. But it's a 20-sided dice right here. And they are gorgeous, and they've got this weird smooth. It's not smooth like slick. It's soft almost. And they are cheap. And I bought those. So it's great to have cosmetics versus buying the shitty Sony Spider-Man one for $90. What?
Oh, was it a specific site you want to shout out?
Amazon. I just went to Amazon.
Oh, just Amazon?
I literally just said like front ends for Xbox controllers, and they'll tell you this is for Xbox One, this is for Xbox Series S and X, because they have the different button placement. And went in there, and it was great. So so if you guys get a chance, check those out. But like I said, always verify and always do the warranty. Living Legend, CA, $5 super chat. What did you guys think of Shinobi? It is my game of the year. I'll now go back and replay the Genesis Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi 3. Shinobi 3 was a 16-bit gem. I would say Shinobi 2, Revenge of Shinobi, is like my gem. I thought 3 was pretty good, though. I played a little bit of Shinobi. I liked it. I just haven't got a chance to return. Neither one of you guys do. Let's see. Ninja Gaiden and Shinobi came out, right? Both of the side-scrolling ones. Did either one of you guys check out either one of those? No?
Well, Ninja Gaiden isn't really side-scrolling anymore.
No. What was the one that came out then like a month ago? And it was I feel like that was a Ninja Gaiden 2D side-scroller. Unless I got the name wrong. I got a code. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was a Ninja Gaiden. People in chat can correct me if I'm wrong. And then I got the Shinobi game. Dude, listen, I'm a fan of those. I like the 2D ninja stuff.
I haven't played Shinobi since the Master System days. So.
Damn. Sega Master System with the hex white cover and the blue grid lines, and it would just show a really terrible drawn ninja throwing something. Ragebound, yeah, there it is. Ragebound, Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound. Yeah, so if anybody gets a chance, there's 2 of these games that have just recently come out. Plus, Prince of Persia, they released there. Boy, it's time of the Metroidvanias this month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn. There's a lot of those.
You know what's interesting with Hollow Knight? They borrowed from the Souls world in the sense that you have these like bonfires where you sit to rest and then you respawn at them. And sometimes you have some pretty long run-ups to retry bosses. That was one of the things that I felt I didn't like, but because recently I booted up the original Hollow Knight prior to this one coming out to see if maybe on a second try I would like it a bit more. But that kept being the thing that harped onto the whole experience for me, or kind of like hindered the whole experience. Did you guys like that aspect? because we've complained at times, like games taking soul stuff like Jedi and other games.
The thing is, Metroids and those games were doing it before Dark Souls was a swimming around in its daddy's nuts kind of thing. Those have always had weird long save runs and weird save style games, and the SNES had codes that were 60 symbols long to make sure you loaded in a save spot. So I'm going to be honest, no, that to me is sort of intrinsic to because otherwise you'd have a save every screen or something. You know, it depends on how it's handled. Ori handled it. Everybody handles it differently. Zillion, one of my favorite games of all time, like legit of all time, Sega Master System Metroidvania style game. They did a symbol system, and I think they did a save every single, I could be wrong on this, but I think Zillion 1 saved every single screen because it was a puzzle for every screen. It wasn't as much, you still jumped and had to escape an enemy here or there, but you had to get these canisters, open them to get a symbol to enter into a computer code to get to the next level, or to the next room. And I'm pretty sure they saved every room. But because of the scrolling, the advent of scrolling, because this one didn't scroll. That's how old it was. It was like, you know, there was no like real-time scrolling in that game, or at least that I remember. No, I'm fine with it, I think, for that game. Yeah,
I felt like Ori was so much better with the checkpoints, because if you died, it would just kind of load you up slightly a bit prior to where you were.
I do feel that Ori did a great job. I mean, Ori's a polished-ass game. Not that this isn't. No,
I just never felt like backtracking was a thing in Ori for some reason.
Gotcha.
Or at least not painful ever.
Do you think it's also possible because Ori is really, though it's a platformer, it's also what I consider to be sort of a consistent moving platform? There's very little standing still. Hollow Knight, there's a lot of back and forth and attacking, and Ori is like you attack while in the air and shooting things and using your rappel to go all the way across the screen. I think the speed difference might make you feel like it takes less time to get 3 screens away, because Ori's fast, man. I mean, not like the fastest game in the world. I'm just saying.
And I think Hollow Knight is also a bit more like crunchy with its difficulty. So
absolutely
it really wants you to, prove yourself. That you can get through this puzzle or this segment or this platforming.
Yeah. What's up, Asa? Hope you're doing well.
Hey.
Go for it.
I think a large part of why the backtracking wasn't as much of an issue back in the day with games like Metroid was also partially owed to the level design itself, where it didn't necessarily feel old when you went back to an area you had already been in, and then explored different sections of that area. But also like the music in particular, because every area or every biome in Metroid had its own very distinctive sort of musical tracks that were outstanding at the time. So that also helped sort of keep it fresh, even though you were going back to the same areas and exploring new parts of the same areas.
Yeah, that too. I think, in all honesty, some of it is just we didn't have any memory of, or we didn't have any really knowledge of what to expect at that time. And we were just, a little bit cooler with it. Z-Kid says, ACG, what did you think of the F1 movie? So, the F1 movie is Michael Bay cheese. He's not the greatest writer in the world. I did enjoy it, but it was one of the most nonsensically fun movies I've ever seen. I mean, that movie, even myself who doesn't know a ton about F1, I'm like, if that guy continually crashed out other people, at some point somebody'd be like, no, dude, sorry, you're out. So they had the renegade part of this character cranked, and it became unsustainable in any way, shape, or form to believe anything or even really be immersed in that. However, footage was beyond belief. I swear to God, this thing was recorded in like 800K. It was, I don't know what they used, but I turned that on my TV and I was like, what the fuck? That's like some IMAX ×6 shit going on my PC. I have no clue why that movie looked so good versus so many movies I watch, buy, stream. Whatever was going on, I was just like, holy shit. And
some production there.
Yeah. So overall, it was a movie. Didn't really
good fun.
Yeah, one time. Oh yeah, dude. It was what it was. It's a lot of swarmy Brad Pitt, and they've.
Dude, I'm a sucker. you know,
dude, he's even got the chains and shit though. Like
sure.
He's got his shirt down to his navel. I mean, he looks like Russell Brand or something. I'm not lying. There's times where I'm like, dude, is he the Zodiac killer? Is that what they're trying to show? Because nobody dresses like that if they don't kill people in a pastime. It's ridiculous. And he's like out there during events. But then they go to these moments where they're filming the cars and they're doing the tech. And that, I don't know how to describe it until you see it. It is pristine. Like, it is almost like, I don't want to say like an Apple commercial, but you know, sometimes you'll see like Star Trek 2009 looked very Apple store in their bridge where lens flares were everywhere. This isn't that way. It's actually just the footage being hot, which is nice. Not a ton of lens flare. It was just, it had to have been 800K. It was ridiculous. It was like, it was well worth it to watch it just to see that and be like, damn, that film is crisp. But anyway, moving on from there. Anything else about Silksong? What do you guys think of the tonal change, or if there was one in your book for Silksong and Hollow Knight 1? Do you guys think this one looks darker, looks the same, feels the same when you see footage, or have you even looked at it enough?
I think it looks. I've seen quite a bit of it streamed, both in our Discord and on Twitch and stuff. It's definitely more detailed. You know, they have, like, the art is really impressive in the game. There's more detail in enemy attacks and particles and stuff like that. That's really cool to see. The tone, I think, is very similar. I think it's very in line with what the first one had. But yeah, I think that's the main cool thing, is that they have expanded on the artistic side, and there's more going on quite often.
So, the other thing that came out this week, which I am decidedly less concrete about, was the Bond footage. So,
yes.
Okay, listen. This is a weird situation, because I think I see people say it's what I expected, and I'm like, really? Because it's a weird situation that they're going into. If you do it exactly like Hitman, you have an ability to dump Hitman, as in dump on it, as in like people are, become more enamored with Bond, and that's what you're doing, and Hitman no longer becomes a thing, which is your bread and butter and why you got Bond in the first place. To give you an example, they literally taped Roger Craig's head onto something to show them what the game would look like if they had Bond instead of Hitman. That's how they sold it. So I saw the footage, and it really is James Bland. I mean, he definitely, there's nothing about it that's shaken. It is just gently stirred. It is very bland. But I will say that some of the fighting up close, and by the way, it's Hitman through and through. That's the one thing. I mean, that's built on the actual, it's not just the bones of Hitman. They've just basically skinned Agent 47, threw the skin off of a cliff somewhere, and then, taped this, like the meat suit from Men in Black. However, the up close fighting stuff, there were a couple times where like he ran and grabbed somebody and flew off a deck and hit the ground or whatever.
Yes,
that kind of stuff looked pretty ace, man. There was a
lot of dynamic,
yeah.
Shoot the environment, drop stuff, kind of spur of the moment.
Right.
It looked like.
However, whenever you're not doing that specific thing,
it is Hitman.
It's Hitman. Like,
or driving. Driving is the other.
Yeah.
Part.
You mean walking slowly? Because that's the world's fucking slowest driving I've ever seen. That's got to be fixed, man.
I've driven faster.
Dude, I have driven faster, like as a child, in one of those plastic cars down a very shallow driveway. That was ridiculous. That was just. It could have been the effects that they were doing. Yeah.
Driving.
They'll fix it, I'm sure. But I don't know. What did you guys see the footage? Did you watch through any of it? Did you? Okay, so what else did you think, Johnny? Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, it was pretty long. It was like 36 minutes.
Very much,
they had a kind of a big chunky first part with a lot of slow driving, like you said, and that pretty much played like a Hitman outside of the car. That at that point, I was thinking, what is there outside of Hitman? Because you were literally doing the same moves of like distracting someone, hopping over the fence, like the typical Hitman playbook. No gadgets, like we weren't seeing anything James Bondy in there outside of the banter between the characters in the car, which was cool. I'm sure that's going to be a part of the charm. But yeah, the gameplay looked very reminiscent of Hitman. However, when it got to a bit later on, where they show some of the systems and the dynamic stuff that can happen, I think that's where we started to see some of the things they've created that are different, like the dynamic things we talked about. So if you're in a, you're engaging 7 or 8 people at the same time, you can do all sorts of things like drop a chandelier onto them, explode different things, like toss something at them, push them out of a balcony like we saw. So some really cool stuff there. And we saw some gadgets. I would love to see more, because in my mind, James Bond is like, it's not good enough for me to drive a Jaguar. I want to press a button and literally like shoot rockets,
right?
Or like have some type of cool thing happen like that. So I'd like to see more of that stuff. But from what we saw, at least we did see quite a lot of cool stuff in terms of the action. Because Hitman, for me at least, breaks when you are detected.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
It doesn't even feel like a proper game when you technically get detected. Yeah. It falls apart.
And I think they found they found a way to make it more action-y, more film-like, more bombastic with those. It was remarkable, though, how many explosive barrels the enemies managed to place in strategic positions. I mean, it was just perfect, right?
Yeah.
It's always funny to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. Silver, anything to add? Any hopes, dreams, aspirations for Bond? Any worries?
Just it looked like I'm in the club of it looked like what I expected, more or less, which was basically Hitman as James Bond. Because that was always the impression I got from IO, that was what they were going to try to deliver, and so that's.
Yeah, it's worrisome.
It looked in line with that, and it looked good to me in that sense.
Oh, you think so? Oh, in that sense.
Yeah, but I also, I mean, I love the Hitman games, especially the new World of Assassination games. So more of that style, just as James Bond, appeals to me.
Yeah, I think.
And I think it fits within the 007 framework.
Yeah, I think it does all that, and that's probably what makes me so little interested, is at some point, I don't know if I was expecting a redo or a re-idea, because they are getting rid of Craig, and Craig was the one who brought in the action, and this one seems more Roger Moore-ish maybe at times, which, by the way, huge fan of Roger Moore, so whatever. And I definitely will play this. But at the same time, I do think that in the past, you can look at most of these companies, and whenever cannibalism happens within your own IP area, there does become a worry of what you're going to do. And the worry may be that Hitman, maybe they delivered what they need to deliver with Hitman, and they're sort of ready to, let's do this with Bond. And it's a super positive thing that they got the IP for Bond, obviously, because it's going to help them financially a great deal. I don't think it'll do poorly if they get Hitman's stuff we've seen and loved and then go to like this more action over the top on the other side. I will say that because there were so many cuts, and janky cuts in particular, between some action scenes that were pretty crazy, like him being in a car 1 second and then over here the next, because they were obviously hadn't completed those. The big thing for me is seeing it when it's sort of ready. Seeing how it flows.
When it's flowing.
And is it a movie game that also has Hitman stuff? Or is it a Hitman game that also has Bond stuff? Because they're going to hit dramatically different depending on which of those two things you end up playing.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's for me, like what I want to see. Because I couldn't tell. When I got done, I was like, okay, I actually don't know which of those two we're going to see, which in a weird way, that mystery is good. That mystery is actually cool. So to be like, okay, we'll be able to see how it goes. The The voice acting, that's the actor for the movie, I guess. If I'm correct, it was okay. It wasn't. It doesn't play as well, I think, in a video game because he's sort of mowed down in features. Just because of graphics technology.
Pared down a bit.
Yeah, so it was, to me, it still felt really generic. We'll just have to see how the story is, because the story is what makes them not generic. For me, Bond is very generic if you look at it as Bond. But if you start to parse out each one, even the ones I hate, they're not. There are ones that are dramatically different from one another. So it'll be fun to see. I'll give it a chance no matter what. It's just when I was looking at it, I was like, it's very difficult to see which of those two that we're going to really hit on.
That part of creating a personality around the character is difficult to do in gameplay. It's easier through the cutscenes.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the story matters.
The story matters. I'm sure that's going to be there.
It certainly matters a lot more for a 007 game than it does for a Hitman game.
Which one does story?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably correct. Yeah, just sheerly because technically Hitman's story, even though I like his story, is pretty one note without a ton of complexity other than how to get you to the next spot.
Well, Hitman's very clinical, right?
So everybody knows, Reddit's working fine for me. I have 3 Reddit pages open, just refreshed them. It's all working fine. Sorry, they were worried that Reddit was down or something. Continue what you're saying, Johnny. I apologize.
I was saying that Hitman is very clinical. So everything is super clean, and he doesn't have a lot of quirks or I don't know, anything too distinctive. He's kind of perfect in a way, right? He's the perfect murder weapon without any sort of quirks and interesting things. And James Bond has always been about quirks, personality, charm. Yeah. And it's hard to inject those things in gameplay, especially when your gameplay is based on this kind of orthopedic movement that they have.
Yeah, the hip replacement look.
Yes. So I'd love to see a bit more panache in just the base moveset of the character, and ways that maybe he talks to waitresses and stuff like that, maybe flirting a bit.
Just dropping James Bond to every single person. They're like, we don't need your first
alerting
last
all
name.
enemies.
He's like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3, where he's just walking down the street. He's like, James Bond. They're like, we don't give a fuck, man. It's New York. We don't care who the fuck you are.
That's always been one of the funniest parts of the Hitman series that they really also leaned into with World of Assassination, is how a 007, this huge bald man, fits into any situation, whether it's as a psychiatrist,
since day one, baby.
Or a janitor, or whether he just goes in and becomes a killer drummer for a rock band or whatever it is. You can just fit and slot into whatever.
You just change the clothing,
dude.
Yeah. And he can just adapt his abilities to whatever the circumstances require.
So great.
Yeah, it is brilliant.
I mean, I remember. I think it's the first one, in fact, where you go in and you put on a chef's hat, and suddenly you're 6'6", barcode on the back of your head. Bald dude. But because you got the chef's hat on, they're like, Frenchie, where are my omelets? And you're like, I'll be there in a second. I could also just admit that as a fan of Hitman, and David, he's been on the podcast. He was nice enough to grace me with 3 or 4 hours of his time, plus a huge discussion afterwards. I just, I hope we get to continue seeing those, because I'm a fan of his, and a fan of that delivery. And that feel being different a little bit, though still obviously they're both spies, or one's an assassin, so one's a spy. I mean, now that overlays and overlaps, obviously, depending on which one. Daniel Craig, definitely an assassin.
Honestly, spy 007, not a spy.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But yeah, and a special one at that, where it's like he uses his M4 to say hi. Yeah,
stealthy.
Yeah, he's like, let's shake things up. The other thing I saw was that Borderlands 4, there were some people who got hands-on previews, and basically it's a narrative reboot. The game is a narrative continuation of 3, but Gearbox is making it an emphasis that there is no need for players to be at all familiar with the original games or 3 at all. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's true or not. Might be just one of those things where they want you to play no matter what. I think that's fine. I think most games do an okay job if you're new. Even if you play 2 or 3 or 4, they'll have a what happened last time on Alan Wake or Gears. I think they'll probably be doing it for this. Personally, I'm actually sort of excited for Borderlands. I'm going to say it, man. I like the idea of some of the changes they've made. I sort of dig the way it looks. I like some of the ideas they've got, you know, 13-year-old humor notwithstanding. I'm actually looking forward to Borderlands more than a lot of other games, which is weird for me.
I think the classes look a lot of fun to experiment with. Yeah.
You ever notice how funny it is each time you mention classes? I'm surprised because I always forget there's classes in that game.
Dude, it's the first thing that I checked.
I know, outside of like I never checked. I didn't even think there were classes. I think I know there were because you see the class videos, but I think along the line of here's a couple skills I like. Obviously, that's a class, but I just don't even think of it as a class. So I just am like grabbing those skills. But yeah,
like
I agree
skill trees.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Let's see. Danny Passion. I'm not excited at all for the 007 game. Perfect.
No passion.
Ironic.
Yeah.
You can comment, man. By the way, I didn't repeat his name twice. I just wanted to make sure I read it right. Wow. Rick 3K says, would have preferred Bond to be more like Max Payne. Oh, interesting. You know what?
So like a grim...
A grittier, more noir.
Yeah, it could have been that, or what is it? Maybe he means Max Payne 3, which I know you like, Silver, a ton, right? You're the one who likes that, aren't you?
Yeah, I do.
What do you think about that? What if you think he's talking about Max Payne 3, and it's like a lot of that was the gunplay enough? Would that be solid enough? Hitman plus Max Payne 3 and the combat of Max Payne 3? Would that feel like a Bond game to you, or would it feel narratively?
I mean, for my money, Max Payne 3 is one of the best third-person shooters ever made. Just for the action gameplay in that game. So yeah, on that level, yeah.
Oh, Nangle says, would you say it's a shoot, scoot, and loot game? Yeah, that was quite weird. I don't know. Were you in there, Johnny, when we were talking about that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was an odd one, especially because it was like 9 years ago when I said that a couple times in some reviews, and suddenly I saw it in a trailer, and I was like,
"Whoa,
what?" I mean, hey, people can use whatever words. I just thought it was really interesting because that was just an alliteration out of the blue I did. Let's see, making sure I read all the super chats. Thank you very much for the super chats. They help the channel. Solly, $5 super chat. You know I'm late, but this Rockstar Medieval game, I know I'm late to this, but Rockstar Medieval game.
Is it a Brutal Legend?
Huh.
You know what I think he might be somebody in our Discord, because yesterday we were talking about what if Rockstar didn't do like a future, they didn't do GTA. How would they move it into?
Right.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking that might be what this one's about. I could be wrong on that.
There were some rumors apparently.
Oh, okay.
Pointing
recently?
Pointing to a project, like a medieval project from Rockstar. But it's just rumors, by the way. Like, there's nothing officially said about it.
When were these rumors popping up?
Let me try to dig it up.
Do you think you could just see a single article and a date on there? I'm feeling like this is a little weird now, because like that was 3 months ago.
I'm seeing stuff from a year ago. I'm seeing stuff from 2 weeks ago on YouTube.
So to continue that conversation, yeah, I would love to see it. We were talking about, futuristic. I mean, I've always been like, I'd love to see Rockstar go to something that wasn't, I guess modern, whatever. But I also, I like that other stuff. So that would be cool.
Didn't they also end up with another agent?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Like, I think the reason why, honest truth, I think the reason why a lot of people hedge on them doing all this is because they seem to have their major projects now, and they don't have as much opening for your bullies or your LA Noirs. It seems to be that they're like, shh, but I would love it. I think it'd be great. Imagine Rockstar ever immersing a medieval game and you have to take an hour to put on plate mail. So this is one of the things I brought up. You can feel free to disagree. I personally feel Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was like a GTA medieval light, but still, if you jumped into that, you'd be like, you know what? This sort of feels like some of the stuff they might do with how much immersion there is and how many characters going about schedules. So to sort of identify what it would feel like, I could see them giving it a try, but feel like their money is being made elsewhere. But hey, I'd be all for it. I mean, they did Red Dead. Maybe they decide to go to do 2, and one's GTA and one's you're not Red Dead. I wish they'd do Bully, personally, but you know, I think I've lost that out. Or what do you guys think about a LA Noire that isn't in the same time frame, you know, but like another, what do you say, like maybe do pre-war?
Yeah,
you could do.
You could do a lot of stuff.
70s, 80s, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go back to the 19th century, you could do like Scotland Yard.
You could do Scotland Yard. Yes, dude. What if
like Victorian London?
What if they call it The Ripper, and it's rock stars The Ripper, and it's about Scotland Yard and investigating that, and maybe finding out who did it, and then you know your character dies because he's a piece of shit. / LA
and
Noire.
You get to doubt people.
Sorry, dude. Fucking be all over that. I would be all, and that's a good name, man. Like Bully, I think is a great name. I loved Bully as a name. I liked LA Noire, in fact, because it was sort of on the nose. It's like LA Noire, and Grand Theft Auto, sort of on the nose. But I would, yeah, that would be awesome. Just call it Ripper. Like I'd be like,
not a bad idea.
Oh, not a bad idea. Patent that.
And you get to be like British and doubt people in a classy way.
Oh my
The
god,
mustache and everything, yeah. The Victorian mustache. Yeah.
So,
there are factual inaccuracies in your sentence right now. Yeah. And then you get it wrong every goddamn time. Every time, because the guy'd be like, and you're all, he's thinking, he's definitely not. He's not guilty. He's thinking about it. And they'd be like, no, you can tell right on his face. Get back in there. You better start shitting me Tiffany cufflinks. Remember when every time you'd leave, even if you did well, that commander of yours in LA Noire would just rip you a new one.
He's
no matter
disappointed
what.
at you.
He's disappointed. Yeah, he's like always disappointed in you. Grand Theft Stallion. I mean, that sounds vaguely dirty, but I agree. That would be awesome. Grand Theft Stallion would technically be Red Dead anyway, right? I'm close enough to it. I think what's up, bros? By the way, Trust Brothers, you guys should check out their Cyber Night and their all their games. Actually, their games are fantastic, man. I actually got that game from them after they came on the podcast, and I really hadn't known how much I'd like it. It's fucking phenomenal. All their games are phenomenal. I still think their games are some of the best games ever when it comes to HUDs and information given. Because I was playing with Star Traders, I think Star Traders, because they have 3. I've played them all. I think it's Star Traders is the one I was playing recently.
You've mentioned that one before.
Dude, it's so crazy that like when you get ready to buy a skill and it's like, by the way, all these other people have it, and you're like, thank you. Because how many games do you'll double up on something? You'll be like, God damn it. A1 Nangle, $10 super chat. Great topics today. Speaking of British, how about Austin Powers themed shooter? No One Lives Forever, buddy. Already done. And one of the greatest 2 shooters in the history of man. I don't care what anybody says. Already made. Delicious games. IP is sharded out like multiple dimensions. Everybody's got I probably have 2%. I probably have 2% of that IP somehow. You guys, listen to this. Cyber Knight's Flashpoint just hit 1,700 plus Steam reviews. Feeling good. Whoa. Dude, awesome. You guys deserve it. Like, that's the truth. That game is fantastic. I mean, all your games, you guys are pretty much what caused you, and what was the other one? The Game Dev Story, I think, is what caused me to actually believe mobile games could not be shit.
Definitely.
Like, those were the 2 that I remember playing it and being like, whoa, wait,
like,
what?
Whoa, it's a legit game.
What's happening? I feel uncomfortable. This mobile game is good, and it's not trying to. It's actually insanely deep too. Instead of like looking good, like a lot of mobile games, they'll be like, "Look how fanciful we look. You need energy to walk 5 feet," and you're like, "Oh, you fuckers!" Whenever you see a lightning bar in a game, I do want to punch somebody. Like, especially mobile games. You'll go into a mobile game and you're like, oh man, I really like this. And then there's a lightning bolt somewhere in your tabs. And you realize that means you can't take all the actions you want in a day. You have to buy those extra points.
Oh,
dude, it's so frustrating, man. It's so, because some of them are genuinely good, but they've been parsed out due to the mobile rat-a-tat-tat kind of, kind of bullshit delivery.
It's all time gated.
Yeah. Johnny, can you do me a favor and go and grab Cyber Knight's link on Steam and paste it into the Discord?
Yeah.
And Star Traders too, please.
Yeah.
Star Traders Frontiers. I always forget the subtitles, but so there was 3 for Google Play, and then I got the one on Steam. I think it's Frontiers. It's the only, dude, you know what's even worse? I just realized those 2 games, a painting company, a painting program of some kind, and those are the 3 games on my tablets. I have no other games on my tablets. That should show people how much I like their games. That's crazy. I just realized I have 3 games. 2 of them are theirs on the tablet. Oh no, wait. I have Game Dev Story. I did do that. I have a Kirasoft, of course. They're good. Let's see.
We only have Tetris and chess. So
yeah. Tetris chess would be good until you set it up to like 7 and you think you're good, and the jump is like when you start realizing every open you do, it's doing the exact defense, and you're like, oh, here we go. Here we go. 6 and 7. There needs to be 6 points. There needs to be a slider is what there needs to be. And I don't know of any chess game that's got a slider. It's usually 1, 2. I mean, you guys may. There's a lot of chess games, but it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You know, they should make a Tetris game. Sorry. This idea invaded my head as you were talking.
Go.
They should make a Tetris game where you are the Tetris piece. So you're the singular piece, and your job is to try to fit somewhere. Or maybe you're a chess piece, and you have your move set. That's all I got, guys. It kind of died right there.
That died out. I was all interested, and then you were just like, whatever you had said, it died out.
Maybe there's something there. Someone smarter than me pick up the concept.
I posted them too. You can see all their games in that link right there. Yeah, you were basically.
Tie that into how I always talk about how Tetris is really a game about existential dilemma, and that the more you try to fit in, the more you disappear.
Well, that's true.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty deep.
That is sort of deep. I mean, I don't like it. It's too deep. It's a little Cthulhu at that point. Moving on from there, we've lost our way. Let's see. Danny Passion says, this $5 super chat from Mr. Danny Passion, who's super passionate about games, all games. Unbelievably passionate. We have to calm him down. I have to put a little AI throttler here to change the synonyms. I played all 3 Hitman games from IO Interactive. To me, their 007 is a downgraded 007 GoldenEye remake from scratch would be best. Yeah, I would agree that right now, right now I think that that's sort of fair. I think it's fair to also think it's, a great deal better. But I honestly sort of agree with that. But it's just because I didn't get to see very much. It's not really the game. We need to really see it. We need to jump in there.
I think that's a pretty limited scope of what a James Bond game can be, GoldenEye. I loved GoldenEye, but we've had a lot of other Bond games. Honestly, I feel like GoldenEye was a really fun shooter, but I feel like Everything or Nothing is probably a better Bond game overall.
What about Agent Under Fire?
Yeah.
Just joking. I think it's called Agent Under Fire. I didn't like that one very much.
That one and Nightfall were very sort of conventional.
Yeah.
First-person shooters, from what I remember.
I'm gonna get laughed out of the room.
Everything or Nothing was like a third-person shooter with action segments, driving segments, all that stuff. A whole lot of Bond gadgets. It had Willem Dafoe as the Bond villain. It had the Bond
voiceover,
Bond girl, well, voiceover and actor modeled.
That's
in
awesome.
The game.
William Dafoe is like, I'll just do it.
And Pierce Brosnan was Bond for the game.
You're like, William, man, we got this idea for a game. You're an octopus who rides on top of a camel's head, and you explore secrets of the universe. And Defoe's already like, sign me up.
You're going to play Octodad in the adaptation.
Yeah, and he's right. And he's just like, what's the one where you roll around as a giant ball of trash and shit? Fucking Katamari.
Katamari Damacy. Yeah.
Damacy. Yeah, that. Like, he's like, okay, I'll be that giant ball of trash and goobers that you pick up around the game world. You're like, thanks, William. I appreciate it. Moving on from the William Dafoe love here for a second. Moving on from Bond. Star Wars Outlaws on Switch 2 seems to be performing quite well both performance-wise and sales and reviews. I saw some stuff that it uses a game card, and people were mad about that. I don't really care about its form factor. I care about if it's good on the system, and it does seem to be doing quite well, which is good, because there were some rumors prior. There were some preview events or something like that where there's some issues with its performance, but it seems to be doing quite well on the Switch 2. So that was actually good to see. I mean, I'm always happy about seeing a game do well. I'm sure somebody's going to be mad about it, but to me, like, that's awesome. Hopefully it continues to do well for them and people enjoy their time on the Switch 2, because Switch 2 has been a little lean, other than those couple, what do you call it? Yeah. Like, multiple people have complained a bit about the leanness of the third party release. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, there have been a few doing pretty well, like Cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, a lot of their sales, if I remember correctly, like 75% of their sales were physical, which is interesting. You can see that, yeah, physical format is pretty big around Nintendo stuff.
If you had a Switch 2 right now, or if you do you seek out physical?
No. In fact, I think digital is more convenient.
I think, I think I would probably seek out, just because I know that most likely it won't all be on there as games or want to be, and I would probably just do digital, just to do digital, not have to worry about a store delivering me a copy or deliver me the wrong thing. Like, we ordered an air conditioner from Amazon, and I got a pair of shoes.
Bro, how's that, dude?
Rich.
That's like those substitutions when you get your groceries.
I have no clue.
And they're like,
oh, dude, yeah.
Hey, man, listen, we didn't have sausages, so here's some
You
cilantro.
ordered the gluten-free macaroni and cheese, so we've got you the extra sugary, extra weedy cereal. And you're just like, dude, I'm sorry, you couldn't have missed that fucking... Yeah, we will definitely make sure that you die, for sure, right now. But thanks. Can you upvote me? Admittedly, I usually do give them good, substitution. I usually don't tell anybody what I want anyway. I just let them do it. It's like a grab bag. I'm also luckily not allergic to shit. But if you are, make sure, if you do Instacart, make sure you got some substitutions in there that are going to work for you and not kill you. I mean, unless you want to commit suicide via Instacart, which would be a long roundabout way of going. I feel like there's easier ways. CWR says, I always tell myself the physical will allow me to sell, but then never sell. Very astute. I would agree with that. I would say that that's for sure happened to me, where I'll be like, oh yeah, just in case, I'm going to buy this physical version of something, and then I can sell it and I'll donate it. That's the other thing I do. A lot of donations. Moving on from there, what have we been playing this week? Anybody played anything unique, surprising, enjoyable? Anything?
Enjoyable, yeah. Unique and surprising, no.
Tetris?
Not really this week, no.
What game then?
I've been playing a little bit of Metal Gear Solid Delta, but mostly Helldivers 2, to be honest.
Helldivers 2, man, sold more in its first 6 days on Xbox than it did on PlayStation, which is stunning. Yes, I know that's a console war. Probably somebody's going to get mad about that. I'm just happy the game's doing really well on both. Like, prepare your ass, gird your loins, as I told Johnny last week or the week after. Gird them loins, because shift your stars and prepare to be boarded.
They just released a huge update for that now incorporates a new mission type where you go underground into
tunnels.
Into Terminate Hives.
Oh, really? Okay, that's very cool.
So, and which can be challenging because you can't reinforce. You can't airdrop ammo or supplies in there.
And special moves that are like
except
attacks.
If there are airstrikes and stuff. Only if there's open space in the ceiling. So you have to really prepare for going underground. Unfortunately, the update also comes with a whole lot of bugs.
Wait. Pause.
Figuratively,
or what?
Technical bugs.
Okay, I thought you were making a joke. Okay, I was like, good on you. Okay, I got you. So I got it.
There are also a lot of enemy bugs.
Continue.
Game enemy bugs. There's a new enemy type, the burrows in the ground. They get really annoying, especially on the harder difficulty when there's a whole lot of them, because you can't really hit or damage them when they're on the when they're under the ground. You can provoke them to emerge using like gas or explosives, but it just gets really, really annoying when there's so many of them on the higher difficulties. There's also 2 new large enemy types, like a flying, basically a dragon that spits like bile or corrosive bile that sets you on fire. It's a really unpleasant enemy. And then there's a huge new like world boss, the Hive Lord, which is the old terminate end boss from Helldivers 1. It's just gotten a whole lot bigger for Helldivers 2. It has a whole lot of health. Basically takes a whole lot of effort to take down if you want to go that route.
So hold on. Compared to the Titan, how much bigger is it?
It is basically you're talking Sandworm from Dune, if not bigger.
Whoa. Damn. That's cool. Have you beaten it?
I have not, no. Like it has like I think it's like 150,000 health, so it'll take you like 10 or 20 minutes to take down.
Damn.
And like a dedicated coordinated team to do it.
Yeah.
You know, some other games that got big patches recently, man. It's absolutely nuts. Path of Exile 2 has a bunch of shit. I saw Reg playing Path of Exile 1. I saw Lucitan, or no, not Lucitan. There was another person playing a different one. Josh Cadiz was playing one of these other ones that has a red and a blue globe on it. That's how I identify these Diablo clones. They red, blue globe. He was playing that. And Living just asked about Titan Quest 2. That genre in particular has a lot of entries as well. Many of them on their seasons, getting multiple seasons. I don't remember the one that Cadiz was playing. Damn it! It's got an E in the title, I think. Anyway, there's a bunch of those as well. So yeah, it's been crazy to see. There's Path of Exile. There's Diablo. There's
Space Marine 2 as well.
This one was like a
Space Marine 2 just got a huge update as well.
Fantasy one. Yeah, Space Marine. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
so
it seems like Helldivers 2 has accrued a whole lot of tech debt at this point, which really impacts performance for the game. So it would be nice to see the Arrowhead.
It's not Grim Dawn, Lucitan. I think Cadiz said it was like there might be time travel. Last epoch.
Last epoch. Yeah,
boom,
there we go.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
Time
if anybody's going to know every one of these, even if he hates the other ones, it'll be Lucitan. He's going to know all of them other than maybe Fate, which
that's
is
a good one.
Only Sonar and I know. They're many of them are great. They've got, you're seeing all these patches. You're seeing the continuation of a lot of these. I saw people passing up new games to play them, which, it is what it is. That's sort of the way the world we're in now, depending on if somebody wants to jump into a new one or jump into the old one. Necro says he's loving Last Epoch. Yeah, from what I saw of what Cadiz was playing, it actually looked quite interesting. Admittedly, though, when I did pop in to watch the chat, I guessed 6 other ones before I got to that one. That's how many there are. I was like, is it this? No. Is this? No. Is this? No. Is this? No. Fucking what the fuck one is it then? No Man's Sky had a big update as well. Yeah, No Man's Sky got a big update. Do you know another game got a big update? I like it more than No Man's Sky by a great deal. The X games, man. The X4 reunion, or X3, X4, the Foundations games, those have got a bunch of massive changes to their game world. And it's a crunchier space game, but it is crazy how many space games there are now. It's so nice because as somebody who grew up wanting all these space games, now
that one is surprising too because the game has been out for quite a quite a long
and these
time.
Updates are sizable as shit. Like they're full expansions from those guys. It's crazy. Very cool to see, man. Just so many different games of that style that are coming out. Moving on from there. So I saw that the Legion 2 price was announced. Legion Go 2.
What was it?
So listen to this. Dude. It's exactly what we thought it was going to be. First one, the low end. Take a guess without looking.
$600.
$1,099. Take a guess at the high end.
Oh, dude.
What do you think? What do you think the high end?
$1,500?
Nah. Okay. You got that one wrong. $1,349. They did you a solid. They dropped that one a little lower than you thought. But yeah,
okay, so they
$1,400. Yeah.
So it's like,
here's the thing, dude.
wow.
These are PCs, right? And they're in that heated form factor that we knew. This is why I kept saying, like, if you want to get a device like this, get a cheap streaming device, one that you can stream to, and get a mini PC, because they're not going to be impacted by the heat. And mini PCs are ridiculous now. Like even the 780M, let alone the 870M, let alone their brand new CPU or APU. They're ridiculous. They can run, if you want to do AI, they can do that. If you want to do games, they can do those spectacularly well. And you can stream to a cheap device. For example, you can get a stocked up mini PC with a, let's say, a Logitech G Cloud. And you would not only not notice the difference because of streaming in your house, at least. It's also an Android device. You could use that for a billion other things, but you would save yourself a shit ton of money. And listen, I like the Legion, but that price is, we're going to see it on everything going up. It's just the unfortunate way it's all going. And these devices, the big issue is heat and battery. They haven't fixed it. And just expensive as hell.
It could be weight too, because some of these are getting pretty heavy. You know, if you're running the game in it, they're starting to be pretty chunky.
Heavy? What do you mean? They don't have a disc
the
in them.
actual.
These are all digital. They don't have a CD or anything.
But I mean, like weight of the unit.
Oh, he's cutting up for me.
I think we're starting to lose Johnny.
That's actually, it looks like I'm losing you a little bit too. Okay.
Oh,
Internet around the world was messed up a little bit ago, so we might just have our Friday issue right there. Amudski says after taxes in the U.S. I don't know what you mean. I don't pay after taxes. Oh, you're in a place that has a sales tax. I'm not. Okay. I was like, what? I don't do a sales tax. Ooh, Johnny. Yeah, Johnny's froze up. Now he's speeding up. Now he's back. Yeah. So super expensive. I would say when you look at it, you know, it's a premium device. I think the ROG Ally device is absolutely way too expensive, let alone this one. I mean, we're at a point now where, especially when you get the extreme chips, sorry, that's a no-go. It's just, especially when you see that they're really not making these massive changes. You know, it's like they're trying to fit it all into that small form factor. They're always controlling heat. There's all these issues with how it's set up. It's unfortunate, but I think we'll have to wait till a new gen comes out when somebody can figure out some heat efficiencies in the battery. NVMe is hot. You shove that little NVMe in there. You know, those NVMEs are rough, man. They get warm fast. Yeah. I had a mini NVMe. I don't know if I told you this, Johnny. I have a mini NVMe with a fan on it. So it's like the Steam Deck NVMe.
Active?
Yeah. And so I got originally I had this in a non-cooled one. I was trying to play Fallout, and I was like, wow, Legion can't play Fallout. That's strange. You know, I would think it'd be able to play Fallout. It's all stuttery. Then I looked at the NVMe's temperature, and it was astronomical. I've never seen temps that high. It was ridiculous. So for $15, I bought one with a little baby fan that runs off the USB. Runs like butter. It was so weird. I was just like, holy shit. You forget, man. Those things, they have a thermal temp that is pretty crazy high, but once you get anywhere near it, that throttling starts to just starts hitting you no matter what. Let's see. Who buys these things? People with the money. A lot of people are going to buy them. I mean, I would say, in all honesty, a lot of these will be sold out. We've seen it with mini PCs. We've seen it. I mean, dude, we're talking about Apple selling you a stand for $1,500 for a PC, and people bought it.
Yep.
They're just not us
and
people.
Loved it.
Yeah. And we're like, this is the best stand. Well, it better goddamn well be.
Thank you.
It better goddamn well be. That better be the best stand. Like no other stand in the world for anything, even a fucking car jack should be as good as that stand at that cost. You should be able to take your BMW out into the woods, shove that fucking Apple stand under there, and for $1,500, that thing better jack it up and change a goddamn tire for you. That's
and
ridiculous.
Kill someone with it if you need it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, dude, it's pretty massive. I mean, you know. Let's see. So basically, Legion Go S is supposed to be the entry. Man, there's so many devices these days. I don't even remember the Legion Go S. Yeah, right. Or Legion, the original Legion Go with the Legion Go S would be your. I mean, entry is different for everybody, but yeah. Probably.
Yeah. You know, what you were saying about streaming, that just makes a lot of sense to me if it's going to be a homebound device. If you're going to play that thing at home mostly, like a lot of us do, that just seems like the way to go. You know, have a thin, light device.
Yeah.
And I'm even thinking, why hasn't NVIDIA dipped into that? Because they had
the NVIDIA Shield Pro.
The Shield,
stuff, yeah.
and I think that worked pretty well even back in the day. So
I've got it.
Yeah.
It works
so
well.
with like how well their streaming service works now, if you pair that with like a really competent device to stream to, I think that could be.
I mean, right now there's programs to stream your Xbox to a handheld, your PlayStation to a handheld, your PC to a handheld. Personal opinion would be if you're wanting to upgrade, but not wanting to go to a device that is a self-contained device like this, yeah, you would definitely. Amutski and I broke down the price. It was like 2 a.m., which, by the way, at 2 a.m. after 27 hours of being up, I do notice a deficit. Shit was going wild. I'll tell you a story later about it, but man, so anyway, I was up super late. We were doing the price. We were breaking it down. It is a good $400 to $500 cheaper if you decided to do, you know, especially because some of the mini PCs have all kinds of coupons and stuff that you can get. Even right on the manufacturer's website, there was one we saw for like $270 off, one for $100 off. You could definitely do that. Pair it. I've got the G Cloud. Somebody said the G Cloud's battery life is amazing. It's unbelievable. Yeah, the G Cloud's battery life is ridiculous because it's either an Android device or a streaming device, so it just runs forever and it's got a beautiful screen. So you could do a mini PC, fucking duct tape that on the back of your goddamn monitor. You wouldn't even know you had a PC. Right now with my mini PC, I literally have a monitor I just carry into the other room, set down and turn on and play. And you can't even tell that it's like you can move anywhere in your house, which is awesome. I'm not even dissing on the Legion. It's just too expensive. I like my Legion, and it was expensive. You know, it's crazy.
Because what I was thinking too is that phones and tablets have a lot of extra stuff they do, like the cameras, apps, all, you know, this general use stuff. But if you had a device that was just to stream games to, you could really narrow down
Portal.
what it's doing. Yes, but well,
yeah, I know exactly
executed.
What you mean. Yeah, exactly.
Like make it really efficient at that one thing. Strip out all the unneeded stuff, which makes it cheaper, lighter, and better at the things it does do. So maybe a better screen in exchange. Yeah,
Johnny, think about it this way. Think about if a company came forward called the ACG handheld, and all it did was stream, and it had an app for your PlayStation, your Xbox, and PC, and you took the camera, you took a picture of the app, it immediately synced everything, signed you in to whatever of the 5 or 6 different apps you need for streaming those devices. That's all it does. So basically, it's a portal, but good. I think people would definitely get it. I mean, admittedly, you can get a tablet and a stretchable controller that clicks on the outside of a tablet that works quite well as well. And low level tablets run those apps quite well.
But now you're having to augment it in all these ways, you know, with a better grip, with like
where it'd be better if it was like
the box,
like the controller, but just had a screen in the center.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Machine XP says, I use my xCloud to connect to my beefy PC and connect to cloud streaming. Yeah. There's supposed to be a G Cloud refresh. That would be cool. I would be all over. I mean, I personally think the G Cloud is an underutilized device by a lot of people, and I absolutely adore it. Other than it's got short throw joysticks, and that is a bitch. That is a stone cold, calculated move to make pain on people. I do not like those type of super short throw. It's one of the reasons why I got the Legion, because their game sticks are the normal length, the length you would expect on a system. But yeah, very cool that they're doing it, man. I'm glad that they got it. Protea says, just started watching and Silver looks legit.
Thank
like
you.
A legit baller, or I mean, could be many things, right?
Like,
A legit killer.
Tip the hat. Yeah.
Yeah. Tip the hat. What else we've been playing? What else we've been experiencing this week? Anything amazing?
Yeah, I finished Indiana Jones, the base game.
Awesome.
Had a fantastic time with that, despite a really frustrating final fight that you witnessed me
balls.
trudge through. But love the game. I'm really excited for the DLC, actually. Yeah, it took a little bit to get used to it. It has some unique ways in which it does some of the takedowns and how it relies really heavily on you picking up stuff to then hit people with. Your ability to take down people without stuff you picked up is surprisingly limited. And I found, I was underusing the whip, but I just found it really ineffective at a lot of stuff for like combat. I mean,
oh, interesting. Okay.
You know, did you guys use that a lot for combat?
Yeah, I didn't find it too ineffective. I mean, I used it for, you snap it over their head, they'll hear the sound wherever it ends, so you can use it to distract them. Pulled the chair legs out from under them when they're at tables. Wrapped them up a couple times. I mean, I would say I used it. Yeah, I used it. I tried to keep them at bay with it, snap them in the neck so they can't scream, which was cool. Yeah, generally. It didn't look the greatest. I mean, it worked, but it still looked janky. It's very hard to do a whip correctly, right? We see it all the time with the martial arts games trying to do chains, and it just always looks a little funky, looks a little crazy. But imagine that game without a whip. That would be
I feel disaster. Like some of those things the game didn't do the best job at showing you, because I didn't know like at least 3 of those things you mentioned.
Yeah, I found out about.
I feel like I paid quite a bit of attention,
right?
But...
Yeah, I found out about one of them on accident, man. I just aimed at somebody and ended up hitting something below him, and it pulled the leg out. And I was like, "Wait, what? I did not know you could."
I mean, in a way, it's cool because it's like you discovered that, but if you didn't,
makes you think outside the box a little bit, which is always nice. Can you grab the Discord questions, by the way? We've also got some Twitter questions here. As we move through these, we'll try to move through them quick, but I always like to ask questions of people who want some answers on life or games or, I don't know, whatever, sex. It's, whatever it is. We're here to answer incorrectly. Burnout 3 says, who will you main in Dragon Ball?
Which Dragon Ball? There's so many.
Oh, he says Gekishin Squadra. Don't know what that one is. I'll tell you who. Whoever looks the most badass. And that's the honest truth. I'm just going to look at any character in most fighting games. That's how I do it. That's how I do it in almost all the games. I'm just like, for example, I mained, who's the Red Rage Lantern in DC? And in Justice, he vomits blood onto the ceiling as his finisher moment. He looks like Legend he looks like Darkness from the movie Legend with Tom Cruise. Oh, gosh, darn, I can't remember his name, but he just looked cool. I was like, okay, that's who I'm maining. They have to look cool. That's all that matters. Yeah. Def Ego says the console wars ended. What's the next thing people will tribalize next when it comes to gaming? If the console war has ended. Merry Christmas. Stephen East says, seems like a lot of performance issues in modern engines. So should developers go back to older engines? Some amazing stuff's been done with really old engines like Quake and GZ Doom. So imagine what they could do with engines before the ray tracing and shaders became a thing. Some modern engines have issues, some do not. So should they go back? No, but they're open to them. I like the idea. We've seen some really cool stuff with GZ Doom and just older games. And we've also seen some great remakes on new stuff, like from the Night Dive guys. So I would rather see a mix than anybody just giving up and going back. Is that your cat's tail flashing up on the screen?
It is, yeah.
Got a little bit of pussy?
He's just perusing over the desk. The thing with old engines is they're really hard to use.
Yes.
So there's a big reason why, they iterate on engine versions. And you pretty much never want to go back to the prior. It would be like going back to Android 4.0 or something.
I think one of the things that people would like to see is there were certain versions of Unreal that didn't have the stutter. Then it initiates
Yeah,
stutter.
I get that.
And now we're seeing the new version where they're trying to fix the stutter. That comes up, especially if it's open world foliage. So I can see where people are coming from on that in particular. But then you look at some others, like you look at, in particular, Division 2, their engine. You're like, actually, that's pretty good for what they're trying to do, what they're delivering. So overall.
Yeah, and then you see like no stutter in some games. So it's not like you
absolutely
will get
none
stutter
in some games.
You know, it can happen, but
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you get some amazing performance on some engines. It just all depends. What else do we got for questions?
So we got this one from Kigarus.
Sorry.
Kigarus. Yeah. Lost Soul aside, got great combat and graphics. Dialogue is pretty bland, especially from the main character. Would like to hear your guys' opinion. Have you guys seen this one?
Not.
I have not. I just know that it got demolished.
It did.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of Gennaro Final Fantasy-esque game.
Mm-hmm.
So think of like Final Fantasy 16, but comes across as pretty generic when you see it. So I think that's the main issue with it. It's got some cool stuff. Like some of the combat looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you see this streamed by people, you'll notice that it is quite templated. It's kind of hitting the check boxes for what you would expect of a game in the
and just looks
in that
just,
style.
Just plays rough, looks rough. Like what exactly do you like? What's the
It
issue?
looks a bit rough, yes, and it's also, I believe, like full price. So when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's a game at that price point.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's my main takeaway. But the combat was, I think, overall decent. So that's probably the strongest part.
Gotcha. What else we got?
This one from It's Doom 03. Why was Silksong hyped so much in your opinion? What will be the next indie game that will be as popular as Silksong?
Yeah, I mean,
I like this question. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Silksong did itself some favors with its super long delay. And that people were just waiting and waiting. And that the first game was so good and they just didn't say anything, right? They were just like,
yes,
we've got a game coming.
I think you nailed it. Because if they had released it just normally, like 2 years after the first one, that's it. It wouldn't have been a big thing. I mean, people might have loved it, but I mean, it wouldn't have become this cultural thing.
Phenomena.
Yeah,
that sort of popped up. Yeah, or phenomenon, whichever way.
Oh, yeah, singular.
I think it's a confluence of a lot of things, like you guys touched on. Like, certainly the fact that the first one was an indie darling helped a lot. I mean, I think you can kind of compare what happened with Shovel Knight, which was an indie darling, kind of similar to not in game, but in like in terms of publicity. I feel like Shovel Knight was about on level with where Hollow Knight was in terms of like popularity. And Shovel Knight sequel came out, I think, like 2 years after Shovel Knight, right? And wasn't really particularly huge,
right?
So I think that time span has definitely served it well. I think it's also served it well that we are in a time now where the numbers are just higher for games in terms of sales.
Yeah,
and when they gain momentum, so there's the potential there is a lot bigger than it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
I think that ties into it as well. So I think it's been a perfect storm for them of a lot of different things that have fit together.
I think sometimes being quiet's the best bet, as long as there's hints that you're still making something. There's no rumors that you're shutting down. There's none of that kind of stuff. You end up most likely You end up coming out of it net positive by just shutting up and doing whatever you're doing, not do a bunch of interviews, not do whatever. Just we're working on some stuff. You know, we're still coming, maybe, is the occasional thing you say. And then you just put your head down. And that way there isn't even things for people to react to other than their own hype around it. I also, for whatever reason, it's just a good time to release that game too. It just happened to be a very good time. Hell Is Us is doing well too. I mean, even though they're technically same day, you know, it's obviously that I think there's enough space for a bunch of games too. That's the other thing. You know, you hear somebody say, oh my God, they're all releasing on the same day. I think that matters more when it's a Zelda where the mass name is something. This is definitely a big deal, but I do think that there's something about when, you know, a Zelda and a Horizon Zero Dawn, there's some overlap there. Hell Is Us and this, not much overlap. So it's just okay, you know, or get them both. And cheap price is helping it, obviously, too. Very smart move on their part. But what else we got? Go ahead.
The next part of that question was, do we know what the next big indie will be that will be similarly big? Is there anything in the roadmap?
I think that's impossible to predict because it is a perfect storm for Silksong. So there are a lot of things that are going to have to come together for another indie to sort of hit that. But I mean, I could see if we got another Citizen Sleeper game or something, I could see that maybe fitting in there.
We recently got two released, right?
Yeah, we did. But that one came like a year almost after Citizen Sleeper, right? I mean, Citizen Sleeper, wasn't that like 2023, 2024?
I think so.
Last year, yeah. 2024, yeah.
Oh.
Citizen Sleeper is such a unique game because it's like, it really is just to choose your own adventure with a graphical interface.
Yes.
So it's like, it speaks to a very particular dynamic. Yeah, so you could say D&D light or choose your adventure heavy. It's one of those two. and then super deep writing. Or not super deep writing, I guess, but more, the writing it's not shallow or whatever. It's pretty dark. There's adult themes and adult stuff. Yeah.
I think also with indies, a lot of the time, the explosion comes from coverage by influencers, streamers, YouTubers. So we never know when a random indie is going to be picked up by a big streamer. And now there's a domino effect where thousands of people are playing it and streaming it. And then, you know, we've seen it with like Among Us and some of these indie darlings.
Ton of games where that's happened.
Yeah.
The brothers say, I'm surprised Citizen Sleeper 2 hasn't done better. So am I. I don't quite know if that's an expectation thing and people are doing I'll get it because I already know it's going to be good, but I'll get it when I have time and they're not buying it or whatever. But I also agree because I think in general, I could be wrong. I think Citizen Sleeper 2 is considered just in all ways better than 1. Not that 1 is bad, but an improvement on 1.
Yeah.
Even in places where 1 was strong, it seems to be. And I was actually quite surprised also. It just didn't really see much coverage on it. But I also do think that the storybook visual novel feature does only speak to a very particular demographic.
Yeah, it's pretty niche.
Hard. Yeah, it's pretty niche. It's pretty hard to sell, or not hard to sell. Things need to be perfect to hit that.
Maybe
that
like
mark.
a Disco Elysium.
It doesn't stream well.
Doesn't.
Oh. Yeah.
But I will tell you one thing, dude. You were talking about streamers earlier. It's obvious that there's now sort of, I mean, I think what I'm dealing with on the back end, even is not a game streamer as much, but a reviewer who streams here. But the people I know who stream and get to talk to, luckily, because they're very nice people. So let's talk for a second about the Twitch streaming fiasco that recently happened. So the bot, hammer came down, and it was a phenomenal number. Not a small number, not a minority, a majority of people. Obviously, these bots, whether on purpose, whether bought by them, whether bought by others, were inflating views. And so those views went down. I had told Johnny when we did our commercial discuss, that was you and I, right? We talked about commercials, different commercials from years ago, how commercials worked. I think it was because I was telling you Rainier beer. Did I tell you about that commercial? Mm-hmm. So when you look at companies who do PR, there is an assumption that a person will do their due diligence. Their numbers sort of match. Everybody goes forward. There's some gray areas there where it's like, do we care as much about where those numbers come from? I think it's obvious some companies don't. But I think one of the things that happens is, and what I've even noticed here recently, is that companies were starting to hedge back and pull back a bit from streamers because there might have been a worry that that was going on, because this same thing happened in the past with YouTube. When YouTube was pulling some shenanigans with ads, companies were like, well, screw you. If you're not going to run the ad like you say you're going to run the ad, why would I pay you? And the reason why you had a lot of people up in arms and saying this is hurting everybody, that it was occurring, is because it makes people who want to do it nervous that they're not even getting real people watching, or they're not getting whatever, so a smaller team. I still think it's quite useful for a or whatever to stream your game a little bit, because it's not an ad that's playing automatically because of YouTube algorithm. It's people were going to see play something. So you have a very it's organic, and it's a tight niche he's already developed. And it's like, boom, we know that person, and we know that where that ad is playing, or this entire video is an ad, what have you. The problem is so much money is going into these. We saw some numbers being bandied around that were ridiculous for small devs to pay. I actually was very bothered by them, because it doesn't even, as somebody who could be paid and has seen offers for myself, I thought that can't be realistic. I've showed Reg a couple of offers where I'm like, dude, look at this. It doesn't even make sense. This is like Super Bowl numbers. Like, what is going on? Why would anybody, and if I'm being offered this, what is going on with some of these other people? And like, what's the return on investment? Is it that really big? And it could be. It definitely could be. But I think that there's going to be a pullback, and you're going to see some of the smaller games, unfortunately, well, and bigger games too, pay the penalty for the stuff that's going on as algorithms start to identify bots, try to get that. And there'll be a bot to fight the bot, and it'll be bot wars like drones in Ukraine and Russia, where they're just fighting each other and the people are sitting back with 360 controllers. That's sort of the way it feels like with bots right now. But I do worry about some of these smaller companies just getting their game out. Because some of the games I get emails for, and it's a shit ton a day, an unbelievable number of incoming emails a day where somebody says, could you look at this? And I'm looking at it going, damn, that's a lot of game. I mean, like, how many people don't have time to make the footage? Or somebody says, hey, our game's not done, we've got a game ready one day prior. A lot of people are going to pass it up. So you got to make sure, if you're a dev, to be in line and be ready, and give somebody a little bit of time. It happened with me. Cronos came a little late, and I had told them, I was like, okay, I have a very specific amount of time. I would love to review it. And they were like, well, it's going to be available at this point. And I'm like, dude, I can't sit. So I was like, I'll try to cover whatever I can, but I need to cover something else at this time, because it's just, there's empty space there. That happens with streamers too. Yeah, I want to see them get, I think streams are still one of the best ways to get, especially indie games viewed. Yeah. But I think there's some worry there right now. The couple people I've talked to is there's a bit of worry. It still is definitely considered the best place, but now there's what's real, what's not, that kind of stuff. So,
and you also see a lot of indie games cater directly to that, like the streamer bait.
Yeah. I think streamer bait also doesn't pay off in the end. It might pay off for one or two, but then after a while, it sort of turns negative, because it's like, you can tell Johnny and I've been talking in here, as well as we'll be playing a game, and we'll both be like, does that feel like that's just made for a streamer? Like, it doesn't feel like it's a game.
Yeah.
It has a gimmick form. It's got a gimmick, and it feels like one of this list of titles that is sort of for a specific streaming environment. Which is its own thing too. I mean, that's life. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Hollow Knight, they did well, and they're sort of this magic mix where everything worked well, and we'll see a bunch that don't, unfortunately. But hopefully more do, especially if they deserve it, which this one seems to. Here on Business, $10 super chat. There was a time back in the There was a time when game releases were scarce. They are now a derivative commodity. Did you gain more value from games then rather than now when you bounce off games because they feel so similar?
They don't feel similar at all to me.
Sorry, I was thinking, what'd you say?
They don't feel similar at all to me, the games I'm playing.
Well, that was going to be my answer, is the games I'm playing, which is different than the games I'm seeing, because the games I'm seeing are 10 times as many as the games I'm playing. So yeah, I would agree in that aspect. I do think a lot looks similar, and there's a lot of them. But
so, I mean, for sure, there's a lot of slop in that sense, yeah. To call it that.
Well, I mean, it's not even slop, because there might be 10 good games. That's not slop. I hate that term, by the way. Let's not use that.
No, that's true. I mean, when I say slop, I just mean like lowest
common denominator.
Stuff that comes up with lowest effort.
Yeah, but I think even good stuff.
That's completely true, because the market is so saturated.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Like part and parcel of having so many games coming out is that a lot of them will be of a similar genre or trying to do a similar thing. I think that just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And I think when you don't play the game, it's also you're seeing it from a distance. So you have this very reductive vision of what the game is too. And we see this with some of the reviewers where you can tell they barely played a game. Like Hell Is Us was pretty ridiculous. Like some reviewers, they were talking about the game and you could, I mean, they didn't give information about, for example, like some of the really heavy narrative points that come. Like this is something you would mention if you had played through the game, but you can tell they played through the first few hours. So
I have an instinctive pushback towards this narrative that everything is similar, because we've never had this diversity of genres available to us that we have today, in terms of the scope of what we're actually able to play, from simulator games to strategy games to visual novel games to 2D platforming games to 3D shooters to first-person shooters to whatever it is, like ranging from Call of Duty to Silksong or whatever, right? The scope of diversity there, I feel like, is larger than it's ever been. But certainly within each genre, there's a very similar. Like there are how many similar Metroidvania games are there, right?
Yeah.
That feel derivative of each other. So in that sense, yes. But I wouldn't say I was more appreciative of games when they were scarcer than I am today necessarily. Just because I am so appreciative of the fact that there's so much diversity in the genres of games I can play, that if I feel like going to play a turn-based strategy game, there's a space for that where I can go and find a game for that. If I want a visual novel game, I can go find that. So we're catered to on pretty much every level, I feel like, today, on a level that we weren't back in the day.
Yeah, I would say that was going to be my point, is as the width has grown, the depth has grown. And so what you end up getting is we do have this, I can just randomly spout off words and there'll be 6 games in that genre versus 1. For example, the time, or not for example, but in addition, the time has got shorter. When I was looking into samurai games, I was joking with Johnny saying, man, I'm getting a little, as a huge samurai martial arts lover, huge fan of those kind of games, when I realized that it took 11 years to get 6 and it took 2 years to get 11 more, that is noticeably flipped. And it's pure timing. It doesn't even mean the games are easier to make. It doesn't mean, it's just sometimes that's what happens. We have different companies who they see what works 5 years ago, or they think they know what's going to work 5 years in the future. So they all happen to make Deep Impact and Armageddon. It happens in movies. How many movies did we see that were Parent Trap ripoffs in the same year? Some of them didn't even know the others were making it. That kind of stuff is when your narrative is a certain way in your delivery format. In this case, platforms that play video games are the same. That kind of stuff happens for sure. I actually see where he's coming from, but I don't see I see the thought process, but I absolutely also basically would just say look deeper or look wider. And then if you find out that you're one of those gamers that has a huge list of games you don't like, we joke with Lucitan a lot. Lucitan has I would consider his desire to branch out quite low sometimes, and his love for a very particular style of game quite high.
It often involves an Excel spreadsheet,
And it often involves math, a lot of formulas. So when he sees the world in a certain way, I'll joke with him, but I absolutely, when he says it, I'm like, I know exactly where he's coming from because I know him so well. And I've known him for so long. And so I'm like, okay, I know why he feels this way. But at the same time, at some point, it's not personal responsibility. That sounds too much like you're talking down to somebody. At that point, though, then you have to just assume that you know that there is a ton of shit and that it's really not derivative or it's really not whatever. It's just literally you filtering to a point to where you're only letting certain things come in. And for example, people who love sci-fi and modern movies don't like Westerns. And it's like, well, there's some sci-fi movies that fit very close to Westerns. For example, Serenity. If you find out that because it's got any Western parts to it, you're not a fan, then you're missing out also on a sci-fi movie or experience. Expanse was considered that way as well, where people were like, oh, real, a bit of a Western, because it's sort of like your cowboys running roughshod, but it's also got this and that. There are people who are like, I don't like these particular aspects. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But it's very easy for us to say it doesn't exist because that's how humans sort of work. I mean, it's not too surprising because I've done it. And the reason why I took that month off was to do a bunch of shit. But one of the positives of it was to look, and instead of me playing a game, I was watching people more in our Discord, my friends, whatever. And I was going like, okay, I get why this person, continually says something. If somebody says something good about something else, they keep bringing this up. And I'm like, it's so weird because sometimes you're so busy, it's hard to know. But then as I started looking at what responses I was seeing and getting from streamers or YouTubers watching their stuff, watching people in our Discord, watching my personal friends, I was like, I sort of get it. I sort of get why some people who are, the other thing, Silver, our age. You get a 20-year-old who comes, this is what surprises me that nobody's picking up on. It's very difficult for me to say it's like Dark Souls now, because to a lot of the people who appeal to me joking and dick jokes and stupid shit, guess what their first game is? Elden Ring. It is not Dark Souls. So when I talk to them about Dark Souls, I've immediately lost the compression of that discussion. It's lost because they're like, I have no clue what you're fucking talking about. I didn't experience Dark Souls. I played Elden Ring as my first game because it opened it to a much wider audience. And so you have all these people coming in, and I made that mistake 3 or 4 times since Elden Ring came out, where I started talking about Dark Souls and was like, oh, you know what? I think what I need to do is rub a little Elden Ring in there, because there's a higher chance Elden Ring has captured both bands than there is Dark Souls has caused people to go, or that Elden Ring's caused people to go back and like a Dark Souls more. It's actually quite low. So it's cool. It's awesome to see.
In a similar vein, I think I have a greater appreciation of games I'm playing today because they regularly blow my mind. Like every time I boot up Warhammer 3, that game blows my mind, because that game is like everything I talked about on the playground. When I was like 13 or 14, and dreaming up the ultimate fantasy of what could a video game be. Well, that is that game.
Yeah.
That is that game. Helldivers 2, that is that game. That game blows my mind regularly in terms of the gameplay experiences that it offers, in terms of where I was when I was a kid, dreaming about the possibilities there and where we are today. So in that sense, I have a very deep appreciation for where video games are today, for sure.
It's weird because No Man's Sky is that way for me. Admittedly, the combat is really bad in that game. That being said, and the story is non-existent, but the actual experience of flying around is what... Dude, I literally have a journal, Cadiz and I, when we were 19, and I'm writing down what I wanted to make as a video game. And it is quite literally
Flash Garden ships.
No Man's Sky. No, it's creepy. Like when I looked at No Man's Sky, I'm like, because you already knew what procedure, they were already talking about procedural generation. The demo scene existed, all that kind of stuff. They were already figuring these things out. And I'm looking at my scribbles and I'm just sitting there going like, that is absolutely crazy. Like, that is quite literally exactly what we've talked about in the past. And that's a great moment. Like, Warhammer for me as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Space Marine 2 for me. I love Space Marine 1 as well. But then you play Space Marine 2 and you're like, oh, man, this is so great. Like, this actually all fits and sort of
the fantasy of that thing. With... And I wasn't even into Warhammer when I was a kid, but the fantasy of, being this super soldier type. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah,
but at the same time, I do understand where I do want to point out, I absolutely understand why somebody would, especially if they're just looking at the catalog delivered to them via the algorithm that is set up in a very particular way, going, and also the negatives that have happened in games, which I just talked about prior. It's also
being curved by their algorithm or whatever.
Sorry, but I interrupted you. I apologize.
I was just going to say that it's very human to have the scarcity aspect drive your feeling of like, hey, I cherish this one game that came out because that was, a unique experience. But what I find is that I'm consistently more and more excited about games, even games that are not that big, like Borderlands 4. I'm really excited to go and play that. And I found that my excitement has gone up over time and not down. So I think that's a good indicator that games are still surprising or impacting in a big way, right? Otherwise, your enjoyment overall is going to go down.
Do you know what I would say also? That what I have noticed is that my excitement level does not stay as long or start as early as it used to. If there is anything that has changed, it's that there's a bit more, maybe because of delays, maybe because of probably not releases, because other than Cyberpunk and a couple others where they truly got caught lying, it really hasn't been as like black-hearted as much as just that didn't pan out. And I can deal with it not panning out. That's life. But I've noticed that like Guardians of the Galaxy, I told you guys about, I was like, I don't know, and I sort of liked them as a superhero team and turned out to be better. I've definitely noticed that when somebody says our game's coming out in 6 months, I don't even say, is it? I just say, okay. Right. I could be dead. Like,
put that to the side, like
put it to the side and be like, okay, but I'm not going to do like a video every week about this game because I feel like many of us, you guys, myself, streamers, developers, publishers, gamers, everybody's been burned, and burned not in a blame way, but burned in just like development gets delays where you're thinking forward to something and you're like, oh man, are you kidding? Yeah. Seriously, it's got delayed for a year or whatever. GTA, a lot of people were like really devastated. And I'm going to be honest. I was like, looks like it'll come out. But as I bet Absy, I don't think it's gonna. But we'll just have to see. But it's like, I'll go ahead and bet for the thing that feels like that's where the industry is going for that. And then you get the guys who do deliver on time. I think we all forget those. And I do want to laud some of those developers who are out there and they do develop. Like if they say they have a date, they do hit the date and they still have good games, which does happen a lot. So they get ignored. It's almost like, because, you're status quo, so we're not going to even give you a kudo at all. We're just going to forget.
That's like that weird social phenomenon where someone who has been, for example, a cocaine addict and gotten over it gets a level of praise that someone who has never been an addict
will never
get. So, you don't get a pat in the back for not having gone down that path, but somehow the overcoming of it makes you, worthy of something extra.
I think that's absolutely true. I think that's also like concern trolling, that kind of stuff, where people are like, is anybody else concerned? And I'm like, no, I'm concerned about cancer, homelessness, Social Security when I get older. Shit. But I'm not concerned that a game is going to come out. Because I number one, I don't need it. There's very few things I need. Number two, my hope is not going to be tied into something I can't control, because I think that after a period of time, I understand why people are doing it now, especially because I just talked to somebody who runs an Xbox podcast. and the changes. Oh, sorry. I said Xbox. That's what surprises me. A PlayStation podcast. And they were like, dude, things are really changing. I sort of don't know. Should I jump to everything? Should I blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, dude, you should have been a game lover way before this. Like the piece of plastic thing is going to come and go. If you've lived long enough, you've seen TurboGrafx, you've seen Sega, you've seen these guys come and go, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But games are really what matters. If you play PC, it really doesn't even matter. You can be a game fan, I guess. You can be a company fan, I guess, but they come and go too. But if you tie too harsh into those particular things, then it's gonna let you down. Especially with so many games, it's gonna be very easy now for us to bring up 100 examples of bad stuff because there's 1,000 more examples of all stuff. The sample set right now for games is massive. 5,000 games released in a month, when in years past, 5,000 games didn't come out in 2 years. That's ridiculous. Like and I have to say, I have an issue covering them. You know, it's just where I'm like, every single podcast, or every single video for the month is getting larger, and people still give me shit within the first 6 seconds. They're like, I can't believe you didn't bring it up. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Or it'll come out a day prior and the game will be delayed and be like, I can't believe you didn't think of that. And it's like, I can't believe I don't have time travel. Like, dude, it's just games we're excited about. There's too many, which you should be excited about and worried about. It's okay to also not want to glut. I lived through the Atari 2600 glut. It was pretty rough, but I was so young. Luckily, I don't remember a ton of it other than quality. Atari 2600 was not quality, by the way. When at their best games, they were pretty terrible.
Pong,
Frogger, Joust, Dragonfire. I can name off a ton. But then, you start looking at the rest and you're like, it was already pretty terrible before the glut. SBZ, $5 super chat. Just want to say.
For the Atari?
Pitfall for the Atari, my mom played. And so I felt very connected with my mom. She loved Frogger. She loved watching that frog get smashed. I don't know. My mom might have been a little wicked on the side. My mom would be like, and my dad would hear that. He'd come home after, and you just hear, my dad, I'm going upstairs. But I loved it because she liked it. SBZ, $5 super chat. Just want to say, as a side scroller and ninja enthusiast, I've been eating good. Can't wait for Ninja Gaiden 4, Sekiro 2, Win from FromSoft. Yeah, we've never even heard a hint that's coming, right?
No.
Okay. I would love to see it as well. Without the ogre. Fuck that guy. Fuck his hug and death shit. Get that guy out of there.
The grabs. Can we get over the grab?
Get over it? No, I can't get over. Oh, you mean can we fix it? You don't mean can I get over it personally?
Or can we just ditch the grabs?
Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't blaming me for my pissiness.
No.
I think what you'll get instead in the sequel is the next encounter will be in a poison swamp next to a fault line that the ogre will then either throw you into the swamp or into the abyss.
There always has to be a poison swamp.
There always has to be a poison swamp, yeah. Always. Living Legend says it'd be rad to see a 3D Shinobi like the PS2 one. I was gonna say I didn't see you write the PS2 one, but I was like, what? SBZ says please bring back the ogre as the first enemy. I'd love it too, as long as the hug's not there. That thing, or they fix it because that thing was broken as shit. Or his drop kick,
or that kick.
Fucking
the tomahawk connecting.
He just spun in place to hit you anyway, and they're like, we're the masters of combat.
It didn't
Obviously
even make sense, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, that made me mad. Anyway. Yeah, good questions overall from everybody. We got any more in there?
Yes. This one from a Nagel. Do you often multitask while gaming, such as texting on Discord, reading email, or are you generally locked in and the world around you fades?
I'm generally locked in.
Locked in. What about you, Johnny?
I do both. Depends on the game, depends on the mood. Sometimes I'll be in Discord with you guys. Other times I'll just minimize everything on the second screen. Like Hell Is Us.
Johnny's consistently teased for his disconnection randomly. You always say now when you're disconnected, but it'd be funny. He'll jump in and it'll be like, I'm going to stream for a bit. And we'll be like, okay. And then I'll look at the time and I'll be like, a bit means a fucking bit. Like, it means a bit. It means 8. Like, a bit. I'll just be watching and I'll be like, 8 minutes later, it's like, okay, guys, because you read and stuff before bed, but and your hours are different than mine. But you're very good at disconnecting if you have to. I would say, yeah, I do all of those things when I'm reviewing. I try to do it completely in the. I think that would be a huge disservice if I was like, hey, how you doing? You look good in that mini skirt. Well, I'm fucking playing the brand new From song. Like, that'd be a jackass. So what I'll do is I'll literally like go to a PC that doesn't have Discord on it.
Oh, that's a good way, because I found like sometimes even me, I struggle with like something on the second screen pops up, or like, you know, Discord message, yada, yada, and you kind of get distracted. It's so easy to just put very a podcast easy on the other screen, or...
Do you know what I do? I have a user on the PC that doesn't have any of that, but it has Steam and the games on it. So I just Alt-Tab, sign out, sign back in, just use whatever's there.
That's a good way to...
Yeah, that doesn't connect. I think that's pretty fair. Like, I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything by giving that person a little bit of time if they gave me a game. It's like... And then when it's the consoles, luckily, they're transmitted to my PC, and there is no Discord on those. I mean, there's your Discord voice chat, but it doesn't track everybody like the big PC main app. So it's nice because you just open up your Xbox or your PlayStation to your PC monitor, and then it just covers everything. And I switch it to a different HDMI even. That way there's no chance. I would say when I'm doing what we call them markdowns or cutdowns, but when you're trying to count the options in like the different graphics options, like how many options are in each one of these, that I can do while I'm talking to people. I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or maybe you're farming some enemies, or you're, you know, doing something more mechanical, more like repetitive.
Yeah, if it's counting, then I wouldn't have a problem with that if it's counting. Yeah, but then there's also the idea that I'm a little nervous about accidentally saying something, because I've accidentally, you know, like. But even if I get frustrated, I'm a little sometimes tentative that maybe somebody in chat will be able to figure out that I'm playing a game, and Carrot got frustrated. The game must not be good. So it's like, it's probably best to just dodge out.
It's a minefield for you.
Yeah, but for the most part, I love talking and gaming with all the other games though. And then if I'm done and playing a game to like just go back and
maybe
revisit,
you're like getting some extra footage or whatever. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no issues. Off topic, but I would love a Warhammer 40. Off topic. Oh, I would love a total Warhammer 40K game.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I was like, I thought he meant a total. I just read Total Warhammer. I'm like, dude, we're on 3.
I still don't understand how that would work within the Total War 4.
Because of the amount of power? Or what?
No, because of like the mechanics of technology and how that works in 40K, and then how like regiments and stuff works in the engine of Total War. I don't see how that would work at all.
Yeah, I think what we saw with the RTS, I forget the name, Path of...
Dawn of War.
No,
Dawn of War is what I thought you meant.
Dawn of War. I think that, you know, that's probably the closest to what he's asking.
Yeah, most likely. What else we got?
This one from The Hero We Deserve Sonar. Intel Arc B... Oh, sorry, he was...
is he answering me?
Yeah, he was answering you.
What's his answer?
Intel Arc B50 Pro soon, which I'm confident I answered way late looking at the time, or NVIDIA 3070.
No, he answered...
because you were asking what card he's getting.
But it was super late at night. I couldn't understand a goddamn thing he was saying because my brain had like shut off, and he told me like 10 times what card he had. So I was like, I'll just post it in Discord and then wake up. Because I don't know what happened. I just started to shit just started. It was like, dude, this guy's not going to sleep. We're going into hibernate. He can still pretend he's awake. My brain was on quick resume. The OS was there, but nothing was running. It was fucked up, man. What else we got?
This one from Bad Toy. What is the most interesting, most fun simulator game that most people have not played or heard of?
Oh, that's exciting.
I have some good ones.
There are some fucking great simulator games.
Power building. PC building was pretty good.
PC building was really good.
Didn't get a ton of press.
Very good. Yeah, very good point. What did you say? One, Silver?
No, maybe Car Mechanic Simulator. Maybe that one's one a lot of people don't know. I just found it really, really fun and useful for learning what an engine looks like inside and like tinkering around with it and whatnot. Which is something I've never actually really done in real life. So I really enjoyed that aspect of that game.
I think I have two. RC Modeler was really good from what I played. You literally cut the sprues off of models and paint them, put them together, airbrush them, get all kinds of crazy shit. You have to put the decals on with a razor blade, water it down, crazy shit. Cadiz has been streaming to me, not to me, but I was in there and he's streaming to me, and it's a gunsmith simulate. You repair guns, all kinds of revolvers, old guns. So somebody bring in an old, revolver from the Western times, and you get to restore it and shoot it, which is the new thing that's happened. The first few car mechanics, if I remember right, I think the first one didn't let you test the cars. You were literally a mechanic, and then now they all usually motorbike mechanic, mech mechanic. They have you take it out for a test run or drive or ride. So that was cool. Con just mentioned another amazing one, which is Crime Scene Simulator or Crime Scene Cleaner. Have you guys played that one? That's awesome.
No.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I did play the one where you're the cleanup crew after the first-person shooter.
Is it Crime Scene or is it a different one?
No, it's basically a comedy game. You're like the first-person shooter has taken place, and the player has
cleaning up after
the area, and you're cleaning up after it.
SCP, there was one, I can't remember the name, but one where you go and you almost like the fire. What's the game that came out by Remedy? Fire Break. Yeah. There was a simulator game that lets you do that. I would say, for the most part, people know the big ones. So it's honestly my favorite of all time is probably going to remain forever Thief Simulator. I was just stunned at the amount of content in that game, because I thought it was just going to be stealing, and instead you're going on the dark web and selling illegal things that you saw. I was just like, what? This is way more advanced. That's, I think, when I first started going like, holy shit, because he and I had played the truck mechanic ones and the car mechanics, which have a ton. I mean, they'll teach a new person at least where some car parts are, which is awesome.
Sure.
But this Thief Simulator one, I was like, what are they going to teach you? Like thief stuff? Like what exactly, but instead they sort of took the narrative of it and still had you do it without, training you and shit you shouldn't know for the most part.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Simulator games are insane.
There's another one actually that I think is less known than Car Mechanic Simulator, but it doesn't actually have the name simulator in it. It's Change, which is a homeless simulator.
Ooh.
Where you're playing a homeless person living on the street.
Bum Something Simulator also came out. That's the one where you can drink vodka and do the yell from Skyrim and throw people around. It's a Bum Something Simulator.
Change is a little more grounded.
I was going to say
serious in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay says any random fishing simulators are a blast. Yeah, I would say, and of course, I change all my answers. Well, I didn't say the best one, but I would say one that people should check out is Hunter Call of the Wild. Like that is one of the greatest experiences ever. And I will remember, like, if I stopped being a YouTuber tomorrow, I would not give a fuck, because the best times I ever had. Spetsu, Sleeve. I don't know if Silver or you jumped in. Abzy.
I did not.
All these guys jumped in to play Hunting Simulator, especially when I was first. It was many years into the channel, but I just think, honestly, I hadn't played it, but I talked about it all the time. And it was some of the best experiences of my life, was just sitting back and having people be like, how do you do this? Like what? Because they didn't know hunting at all. And have people later go, I don't want to hunt. I don't want to kill animals. But that is one of the best experiences of my life, was playing that game. And I was like, oh, that's like
dude,
awesome
I need to jump in with you, because Reg and I went into that game and literally there was a radius around us where all the animals just stayed out of, because I guess we were so noisy or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Like we just didn't see a single animal, man, because I think know how Reg is. He's just kind of rocking up.
Oh, dude, I played with Takedown. Dude, one of the greatest times, man. I'm with Takedown in the Serengeti level, and it's super sunbaked. There's, all kinds of wildcat kind of stuff. There's some antelope, and it was a pretty dry day. We weren't getting much, but we were just having a blast. We were just streaming and talking, and all of a sudden, I just hear Takedown go, whoa, 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 and a fucking like leopard comes out of the bushes and just starts running him down, and he twisted around, shot it, perfect shot, got like 100% on the shot. And that's maybe the only time in the history of all games where I heard him sound proud, because, you know, Takedown likes games, but he doesn't get into it. You know, he'll be like, oh, that game's emotional. It gave me, but it's different. Something about it is always different. That was one of the first times where he's like, dude, we have houses, right? He goes to the house. He puts the model up inside the house, and he's just like, this is the fucking coolest thing I've ever, like, I didn't even know they could attack you. And it was just hours of him talking that moment up. Dude, did you see that? I'm like, yeah, I was there, man. And like an hour later, he'd be like, remember when I got that? Yes, I'm still here. It's been the same game, man. That kind of experience among us has had that. I've seen people have those kind of experiences as well, that's why I like gaming. So like when we talk earlier about, the regression of games, it's one of the reasons why I still look at games and go like, yeah, I don't think so. You know, I think I still see like those moments of taking something like your PC building simulator. You like PC building at the time you were even more into it. There's something that lights your brain on fire when you find a game that hits it, and it doesn't have to be action and combat. In fact, sometimes it's almost worse if it is, because you can't just sit. It's like, oh, I'm responding. I'm getting the next guy. There's something about a simulator game where you're like, dude, I'm going to put this 4090 in this bitch jam. Like it's never had. Yeah. You're like, oh, you will fit in, baby. You know, it sounded a little creepy, but that's the great part of it. You know? Or when Silver used to stream truck mechanic, what do you call it? American Simulator. Truck Sim. Yeah. And you just watch somebody play and deliver, which sounds so stupid. It sounds so fucking dumb, but it's like he delivered something from one, you know, area to the other in a state, and he's like, yeah, I got it in on time. Just like, and then he parks well, which I can't do. So I did watch when he was parking, and I was like, damn. That's
almost like Elite Dangerous when you park your shit. And you're like, I'm proud of that, you know?
When? I don't know if I got shot by those every time I would show up, and I would get these palpitations. I'd start sweating because I'd be like, it's going to want me to land perfectly.
I'm sorry, guys. I failed. Okay? I'm sorry.
And it's pretty quick. It doesn't give you a long time of screwing up in that game before it's
like Red Dead Redemption 2 when your horse touches another human being.
Kill him.
They're shooting to a kill. Dude.
That's awesome. Con says, would Satisfactory count as a sim? Very much so. Yeah. It doesn't have to have sim in the name. That's a sim. It's a building sim. It does its own thing. Subnautica is technically at times
and there are
a sim.
subgenres. Like Factorio is its own kind of sim. Not really, but like, you know, factory sim.
It's definitely, it's a factory sim for sure.
Yeah.
It's a production sim, because you are ultimately trying to get a production to do a specific thing at the end.
Yeah, Kerbal too, to an extent.
Kerbal. I mean, Kerbal definitely.
Yeah, Kerbal was full on simulator. I mean, dude, I learned a lot of stuff about
That's exactly what I was going to say. Kerbal's
rocketry,
like, oh, it's all fun and games, but instead you're you've got your tablet out, and people are like, what are you doing, man? You just take notes in the game. You're like, I'm trying to figure out the delta V of 3 gerbils trying to get into space and get all the way to the moon. Could you shut the fuck up?
Here's my Apo apps. Let me adjust. Exactly. Dude, great.
As you do it, you're like, we're good to go. Wait, we won't have enough gas. No. Then it takes off, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
And it's the same for me playing Silent Hunter, like trying to calculate firing solutions with like rulers and and whatnot. Yeah.
Attack Sub for the Sega Genesis. They had Tank Simulator back then. They had the what do you call it? What's the main attack? Abrams Battle Tank Simulator. Looked like dog shit, but trying to figure out how to hit somebody from super far away and get it aimed, you know, just perfectly to hit them when they're on the run. It was just, I mean, any of those games that dives in.
The requirement.
Arma as well, of course.
Oh
yeah, Arma's the end all. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
No, I love that idea of a game requiring a really specific level of attention to something. That's almost scary because it will be off-putting for a lot of people. But for those who appreciate that, like Kerbal, you had to really get into the details to even get into orbit, let alone go somewhere. But for people who appreciated that was really meaningful.
Yeah,
I think that's why Hell is Us I was so excited because you jump in and straight away they're like, listen, cards on the table. We're not going to tell you where to go exactly. You're going to need to pay attention to some of these things. And I love that, man. I was like, okay, everything minimized. We're in, you know. I want to see that
Hell is
more
Us
when it makes sense.
well.
Not every game.
Yeah, not every game needs to have it.
Yeah,
obviously.
Right.
What were you going to say? So
I remember in Silent Hunter 3 getting like a radio message from the German headquarters that there was a convoy going a certain direction, traveling at a certain speed, and then you had to calculate. Oh, this is how fast they're going, so this is where they'll be approximately in 3 days' time. And this is how fast I need to go to catch up and intercept them there. And then you go to that area and then you wait. And then I waited and then I actually managed to intercept them on that course and that trajectory that I had calculated.
Good thing that key operation didn't rely on me. So we're good there. Yeah, all good.
I think skill in games is notoriously broken up to how fast you can do A, B, B, A when you see something happen on screen.
Yeah.
And then you have the super, super in-depth civilization, which is like this massive, wide, sometimes deep, but really not as deep as people think kind of situation. No, yeah. And then a simulator, the great thing about it is by its very definition, unless it's called the world simulator, it is about one thing and diving into the experiences of it. And if they do a good job truncating those experiences down to a game part, delivering it so that it's reflective of whatever the person who does it would experience or understand, then it's pretty memorable no matter what. Like even some of the sim games I haven't loved, like Drug Dealer Simulator. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I was actually like, there's a lot of shit going on here. There's a good amount of content in this. There's a good amount of little idiosyncrasies here. And as somebody who knows or has known the occasional breaker of the law, a lot of it fit with what that person has told me. So I was just like, oh, and not fit perfectly. I'm saying it fit in the generic. You got to do this step, then this step, then this step. Oh yeah, you got to watch out for these guys. This is sketchy over here. You might think about this, and that kind of shit to me it's awesome. Like I'm so excited to see that genre explode. It will get filled though. I believe we're actually close to there, and that now we're going to start getting, fern grower in your bathroom simulator, where it's going to be very definitive, or we're going to get some sequels, and then we'll see sort of a petering out before we go back.
I mean, we have also seen the spoof simulator games like Goat Simulator and whatnot. Yeah,
which actually was quite fun. What it was Squirrel with a gun, even though that wasn't really simulator, it still was made, it still felt like one. What else we got, Johnny?
Bad Toy had another question here. What do you think about the way Hollow Knight series handles navigational awareness, story progression, and available abilities?
I don't know enough about it to even talk about that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, we talked a little bit about it. I think at the end of the day, the navigation is a bit painful in the game. That's what I would say. And there's a lot of backtracking that doesn't feel great. And it's made better once you unlock abilities. So, that's what I will say.
I will say that has been sort of a consistent. I talked about that right at the starting. I definitely have heard. Was watching, listening, and hearing the little It's not even words. Sometimes it's just a sound that sounds discontent, right?
Yeah, it's like I died here. I have to walk 5 minutes.
Yeah, or the talking out loud to themselves, but not really asking, do I need this thing? Like what? And you start to hear, and there's a fine line between fun and frustration when it comes to that learning and stuff like that. So yeah. I would still say it's probably one of the better ones, regardless. I mean, we have a lot of ones that are just plain and simple, don't look good, don't play good. It's fair. It's not easy to make a 2D like side scroller even be enjoyable to play, let alone be fun. It look good, sound good. Sounds good. I will say that's another thing. Sounds good. Music sounds good in the game.
Yeah.
They did a good job on both those too. What else we got?
Last one from Spetsu. Spetsu. It's Italian. Bloodlines pre-orders getting refunded. So there was a tweet that he shares here that reads, quote, "Hi, we're making adjustments and we'll share the details on September 17th. Big changes take time, and we want to do this right. PS Store pre-orders will be refunded on September 8th. You'll be able to pre-order again before launch on October 21st. Thanks for your patience. We'll share more soon. Yeah.
I mean, I'm also puzzled that they've been charged already pre-orders, because aren't they generally charged when the game actually releases?
Yeah, but they might have done a hold where they just test the card to verify the money's there. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, so what he's saying is that pre-orders are being delayed, or pre-orders are being completely refunded.
Yeah, they're being refunded, and you'll be able to pre-order in October.
Well, so I find that one a little odd. Yeah, we're making adjustments. We'll ship big changes. Take time. We'll be refunded.
Well, it's interesting because the changes must be related to the pricing or the scope, or like what's being offered. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a reason to take back the pre-orders, right?
Yeah, so that's actually what I'm getting to when I'm chewing my gum. I'm thinking that, so they had the clans on the pre-order, and they stated a couple days after, they said, like, we're seeing your input and we'll get back to you or whatever. So if they did the finances and everything based on that kind of thing, my assumption would be that is the change. However, think about it this way. You can't just pull that, because if you pull that DLC, all those DLC chips are basically into Steam. So you would have to basically, you sort of grant everybody that DLC if they pre-order whatever, there's various ways you can do it. But then you might have some checks in your game that are checking for that DLC. So there's a little bit of programming time that they're going to need to remove those checks, like put those in the game for sure. Like, just everybody gets them day one, no DLC check. It can't be listed in the DLC, in fact. So they would have to change the graphical screen. So let's say there's a game screen in the game that says DLC. If you decide you're going to give everybody the clans, you have to change that graphical, you have to change that page. You have to go in, you have to turn off all those hooks. Then you have to identify what new hooks you want in if you're going to do DLC. Then you have to upload new packages to Steam. I could see that not really delaying it too much and it just being the DLC. But they financially, you do work out what you think you're going to make. I mean, anybody does. If you did a project like this and you weren't guesstimating how well you were going to do, and so that you could tell people that were giving you money to help you or what have you, you'd be a pretty dire manager. So I am also wondering how that changes. Like, what are they going to offer for DLC? Because they probably still want to offer DLC packages. Did they have a premium package with some kind of like female, bust of a vampire in their premium? Did they, something notoriously cheesy like that?
They must have. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Okay, well,
I'm sure there was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably removing. It was a weird thing to do the clans, guys. I can deal with weird DLCs. I do not have a problem with with microtransactions. Not in this game if you want to put a shirt in there. But that was ridiculous. That just didn't make any sense. That was the full clan. Like, it was just like, what? And I thought when it was originally announced, they meant afterwards, as in like, oh, they're coming out in 6 months. Those people who buy them will get early or something, like, because it didn't even make sense when it was first shown. You were just
almost like a season.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. So it was, and it was a pretty brain dead decision, and also one that honestly isn't actually replicated too much. If you look at other games, many games won't do that. Some do. They'll do a class or whatever, and you certainly don't like it. But Bloodlines, as Silver said, they literally took one of the clans. One of the clans was give or take, but the other clan was like a major clan, one of the biggest, like, overall narrative linchpins that the entire, vampire world works on. So
yeah, that's Sombra.
Hey, you know what? It happens. They listened. They're changing it. This is a difference between 10 years ago where companies weren't changing. I'm actually a big fan of a company saying, okay, that's not working. I'm a bigger fan of them not making that dumb mistake.
Yeah.
But hey,
to begin with, yeah.
to begin with, they've made a lot. That game is definitely up there with Dead Island 2 in how troublesome their development has been. Like, especially getting rid of the original creators, you know, while in the midst of making the game. I don't know what was happening there. And never heard. It's never really been hinted at other than there was a disagreement on creative vision, which usually means they wanted to do something. Everybody else didn't want it. That's life. Interesting. Thank you, Spetsu, for telling us that, because I didn't know. What else we got?
That's about it. Gears Reloaded hit 1 million players.
Dude, I saw that.
Which is awesome.
I don't know.
I definitely want to play that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know when, but I really want to play it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if you tell me, I will put aside time and I will fucking be there to play that thing. Just
my
say the
believing
word.
Face looks stunningly like my not believing face. Have you noticed that?
I'm putting it down right now.
I'm just joking.
You know?
Yeah, I'll get it for sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited for it because I'm a Gears 1 freak, sort of. It's like...
Really?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's maybe the best game overall? Like,
I'm a world building...
Granted,
I'm a world building
doesn't
freak.
Look as good.
Yeah, it doesn't look as good, but it's like I like Gears 1. I like world building. I like those characters. I would love for them to continue to fight forever. I'm not the guy who's going to tell you.
It also does look as good because it got the remake.
Yeah, I'm not the guy who's going to tell you got to kill your main characters and you got to move on narratively and blah, 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 like Halo will do. I'm like, no. Master Chief showed that 1 and 3 were amazing. 2 was good, but it had a fucked up ending. It was cut in half. But honestly, 1 and 3 were amazing, and I liked Infinite. But I'm telling you right now, you don't need to fuck with it. It can sometimes. Simpsons has shown this. It's had its good and bad, but it's gone 38 fucking years or whatever.
Sure. Or Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Just give me
Supernatural's even better. They've had like one season people didn't love, and the rest. It's like, dude, it is okay for the occasional game to say, guess what? It's still these two, and they're still killing some people.
Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that in some games, and shooters in particular. I don't mind some story in shooters, but when you start going like, you know, is Master Chief the bad guy? I'm like, no, you are. You are. Nobody in the game is the bad guy. You are a bad guy in my book, right? It was the dumbest fucking twist of events. I didn't mind so much Gears, but by that point, Gears was doing its own thing.
You remember how weird it was with Gears 1 when the PC port came and it had an extra level?
Oh,
it wasn't in the Xbox version.
I don't even remember that. I don't remember it. That would be weird though, but if narratively it didn't fuck anything up, then it would be more content, which I guess
it didn't really fuck it up. It put some more things into context. Like sort of bridged the gap that was there in the first game. But that was about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it. Yeah, Reloaded, dude, it did well. And then you look at Helldivers did well. Like it's a good time for the. I like the stuff. I don't necessarily love it being remade again, but I don't even know, you know, other than the PlayStation, most likely they didn't want to just release it on PlayStation. They wanted to re-release. If you're going to release your biggest title, you might just want to be like, let's throw some shit into it. Release it on our own system as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't play those. Like, I didn't play those first two. You know, I started with Gears 3.
Right, you started to 3 or 4. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
makes sense.
So for me, it's a cool chance to.
Yeah, it's very cool
to go to it.
Yeah, good games, enjoyable, lots of shooting, different feel than, you know, because that's pop and stop versus shoot, scoot, and loot. Yeah. Let's see, what else do we got? Let me look at these questions on Twitter. Eric, are you reviewing? No. Okay, that was a question. Cronos. No, I'm probably not reviewing Cronos because I pretty much had to move on. The code came at a weird time when I already had other games and it had delayed a little bit, so I didn't get a chance. But I hear it's pretty good. I think the reviews might have been a tiny bit lower than I expected, but I also, since I haven't got all the way through it, maybe there's something in Cronos that isn't appealing to people as much. But I've also, now that I've talked to some people in chat, there's been a lot of people who've really liked it. So it just might be one of those titles that, you know, its score is a little bit lower than you might expect. Let's see. What else do we have here before we wrap it up? Looking here. Okay. Oh, Metal Gear Solid, 1 million digital and shipment sales total. So they did really well. I mean, I think that's really well. Actually, I don't know the cost, so it could be absolutely terrible.
Any of you are gonna
for day one? I am playing it.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah.
Well, it's Metal Gear Solid 3. It is what I expected it to be, pretty much. For better or worse, has a lot of the cripples of that game. The shift to third-person perspective does make the game a lot easier, especially stealth-wise, than the isometric. But you do still have the option of playing with the isometric, the classic view, if that's what you want to do. So that option is still there. Graphic update is nice. The jungle looks really, really good. Controls are still really, really awkward. Still my least favorite part of the Metal Gear Solid franchise is the way Snake controls.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just.
But didn't they rework some of that, Silver? How the gameplay is and like the mechanics?
Not really character movement. No. Like the shooting and whatnot. Yes. Because of the third person view, so that really sort of changes that aspect. But other than that, no, he still moves really, really awkwardly the same way. And it can be really, really awkward to sort of stay behind cover and not have a piece of him like poke out inadvertently. At times, that can be quite painful. The boss encounters are still. They're also a little different now with the third person perspective, a little easier. Some of them have been changed up a little, so you can no longer like shoot Fury in the head with the tranquilizer dart for some reason. I mean, to be fair, he is wearing a space helmet, so it was a little bit weird that you could do that. but such are the compromises you make for gameplay reasons, right? But
yeah.
But I mean, other than that, like it is beat for beat. It is Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. It's the same music. It's the same credit scenes. It's the same lines. The same voice acting. All of it is the same and recognizable.
So it's what's
still,
on the tin is what
very much so, very much so. Yeah. I think $80 is way too much of an asking price for what is ostensibly a 2005 or 6 game, sort of repackaged.
Damn. Yeah.
So that's way too much. It's if I had to rate it on the ACG scale, I would definitely say wait for a sale on that
for
one.
Sale.
Yeah. I haven't had performance issues on the PC version. I know you did, Carrick. You experienced a bunch of crashes. You told me.
Brother, it's such an understatement, Silver, man.
I know,
dude. I went and looked. I decided to look and count. I don't know, man. I like it, maybe driver or something, but son of a bitch, man. I had a lot. Yeah. So I'm glad. I haven't seen I saw like a couple people having a couple crashes, none near as many as mine. And then some people having some performance issues, but. Yeah, that was just one of those games, man.
My biggest technical complaint is that it seems determined to render shaders every single time I boot up the game.
Oh.
So it has to use like take 2 or 3 minutes to boot up the game for that.
Yeah, compiling shaders is like, it's funny because we spend so many years as like you get developers doing this where they spend so many years trying to fix a particular thing. And one of the biggest things I think that they tried to fix was to get out of the CD glut and figure out a way to do level loading instantly. And then you turn around and the shader cache quite literally takes over for the loading screen now. And you're like, how many steps forward can we negate with whatever new tech? And I swear to God, you always hear the story about like Moore's Law and all that stuff. It's true. The cost also does go up, right? And it's like, oh, look at the graphics. Look at this. Look at the speed of loading. Oh, but exactly equal if sometimes not more than the loading time is going to be a shader cache build. And you're just like, dude, seriously? What the fuck? How did
and that's not sped up by your, like SSD or whatever. So
yeah,
it's created a new bottleneck.
You can speed it up with some hardware, but everybody's going to experience it, and it's going to be long.
Yeah.
And luckily, DirectX has figured out they've got their new package system and certain games do it differently. We've seen games not do it. We've seen games like that have figured out ways around it, but it's not everybody does things the same way. Not everybody has the same style of game either, where some games can get away with doing a specific thing where others can't. Because you always hear, well, if blah, blah, blah game could do it, why can't all games? And you're like, because that is not how it works. If so...
One is an apple, the other is an orange. Yeah.
On another planet.
Yeah. I just hate it when some games do it every launch, every time you launch the game.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Living says he set his shader cache to unlimited. Yeah, mine's set to unlimited as well. It helps a little bit, but you occasionally have those issues where no matter what, that's just the way the game is built. I think most devs understand. They try to work around it, but sometimes it's just that's the way it's built with that engine in particular, with some engines in particular. What else do we got? If we don't have anything, let's talk about anything firing you guys up for movies, music, books, life, new foods, new experiences. Anything amazing?
I watched the latest Mission Impossible movie. Have you guys seen that?
The latest is in last?
Last, yeah.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I thought it had some of the most incredible filming for like action sequences. Some stuff that they did, with planes, which I think a lot of it was done literally how it looks like, which is like Tom Cruise like hanging off a plane or something. Some crazy stuff. And I thought they did a good job of bringing full circle all like some of the key moments that we remember from the old movies, some key characters they bring back. So it's a bit like nostalgia, right? But I think they did it in a good way, where it wasn't too much hinging on that. And that was And that was just a nice touch for people who have been with the franchise. Like me, I grew up with that, right? So, I liked it a lot. Thought it was a good conclusion. Not that the story is going to stick with me, but I like the characters. I like the girl that's in it. I thought she's been great in that role. The brunette, I forget her name.
It's not Haley Atwell, right?
It's
not Captain Carter. Okay.
I've seen her in a bunch. Yeah, from Captain America.
Oh, okay. I saw the Tron, the newest trailer for Tron, and I cannot wait.
When is that coming out?
I think it's the end of this month or the end of next month or something.
Got it.
Yeah, that just looks awesome.
Tron is great.
Stoked. Yeah, it looks awesome. Gets me stoked up. It's one of the worlds I wish there was more. I wish there was an Mass Effect level RPG in it, which probably never happened. But I think there's a lot of fiction that they wrote as they were making the second movie in particular that started to come out in the second movie with the ISOs and stuff that I actually thought was really interesting. I'd love to see it. I don't think, we'll see what we see in this one, but I think generally, you wouldn't see a game, but I would kill for a game where you were exploring that world. That's been like the big thing I saw this week that I was excited about. Anything for you?
Have they ever done?
Oh, sorry.
I'm just curious. Have they ever done a Tron game?
Yeah, they've had 3 plus arcade games, but they've always been, weirdly enough, for whatever reason, and they released one about 6 months ago too. At max, it was probably sooner than that. Yeah, but they've always done the thing where they do a side thing. They don't really the closest was a shooter, and it did a pretty good job, but it didn't capture. It was, how, remember the games when you'd play and it'd be like, this is Lord of the Rings, but this is generic Legolas. Jagalus.
Yeah, it's
and this
Pregalus.
Pregalus. And you're like, dude, what? It sort of felt like that with the shooter. It still worked, but it didn't work as well as I would like. But yeah, they have. What about you, Silver? Anything amazing?
There's a new board game that just released that I'm kind of excited for called Dark Deeds from two guys who used to be heavily connected with Warhammer Fantasy called Mark Gibbons, who used to do a lot of art for Warhammer.
Yeah.
And Andy, one of the Andys, one of like a dozen Andys who's worked for Games Workshop.
Yeah.
And written for Games Workshop. I forget his last name, but basically, it's a game where you're playing minions working for evil overlords, plotting against each other. It looks really, really fun.
Do you know who makes it? Like, is it a main company or is it just them?
It's their own company called The Rookery, basically which is I think run by Andy Law, who used to be one of the main writers for Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy. I don't think I've heard of this game. I'll have to check it out. I think Mark Gibbons Mark Haig Ryan was the main artist or main writer he did Fading Suns and he did Warhammer Vampire. Werewolf Vampire Mage. Can't remember if Mark Gibbons did art for them or did he just do Warhammer? But I know the name. Yeah, so some of those guys, it's crazy, dude. Their longevity in that career is pretty insane. When you go and you look at I'll look at something from, 35, 40 years ago, and that person is still cranking out, whether it be art or writing a new world, and you're like, damn, that guy's got a fresh brain. That shit is nuts, especially making a world, because it's like there's a lot going on there. That's cool. Big fan of board games. I might check it out. I'll put it on my list. I think that's it for us. We'll cut this one a little short. It's 2 hours, 50 minutes of fun. Want to say thanks to these guys for showing up. Nope, we're not done. Continue, Johnny.
One extra thing. So this week I watched a podcast about T-Rexes and dinosaurs.
I saw that pop up in my chat.
Yeah, Lex Friedman had a guy talking about a ton of stuff. It was super interesting, super cool to listen to. Yeah, highly recommended. But disappointingly, he didn't ask the one burning question.
Should we bring him back?
What does T-Rex sex look like? Because they have the tiny... Do you know what I mean? How do you get some purchase in there? Like...
Now I'm actually thinking about it.
Need to use the
you're
arms.
Picturing it. Yeah. I guess they just fumble through it. That's it.
Name of your sex tape. Just fumble through it.
Yeah, fumble through it.
Name of my sex tape. Name of everybody's sex tape. I'm sure everybody thinks they look all cool, but it's real life. It does look like
dude, you never want to see
two greased monkeys fucking a deflated football. You don't want to see it, man. Sorry. You don't want to see it. Quit posting that shit.
There doesn't even necessarily have to be penetration involved. So.
Okay, that sounds... Now we're getting into... Well, for T-Rex, I feel like T-Rex needs penetration.
Or it would be like
and the
humiliation.
Thing is, your arms are short, so you can't get the shoulders in certain positions.
Yeah.
So you're like...
You just whip the other T-Rex with your tail. Just some BDSM style...
Do you like
T-Rex?
That?
Yeah.
Tell me you like it.
Step on me.
Translation. Do you like step on me? That's so wrong. Dude, if you look at Brontosaurus or you look at any of the larger massive dinosaurs and stuff like that, I think of everything, how weighty they were, and you see an elephant moving around and you're like, how the fuck?
And a giraffe.
Yeah, you see already weighty animals now moving around. You're like, how the fuck did a brontosaurus even move around? Feels like it'd be
like the giraffe in particular, with how awkward its neck is.
Giraffe are giraffe look pretty. Yeah, giraffe are pretty messed up. I mean, there's a couple animals, but I think giraffe. When you see a giraffe, you realize why. Probably you see their necks and you realize they kill one another with their heads.
Yeah.
Like giraffe are some pieces of shit. They headbutt each other to death. They're the hooligans of the fucking Serengeti kind of world. They're like fucking whack, but at the same time, pretty smart. And that head way up there high, see everything around you. But then you see them run, and you're like, dude, you look fucked up.
I feel like I would be pissed.
There's Stallone evolution of running. Because when they run, they look like they're falling apart like Stallone does. Like Stallone always looks like a jigsaw puzzle that got glued together into a walking frame. Like you see him just... No matter what. What were you saying? You'd be mad at evolution?
Yeah, because if I could complain to evolution. Like, really? After, millions of years, what we ended up with for the design is this giant awkward neck.
Right, but humans walk forward with the two weakest identifiable items on our entire body with our eyes open. Dude, have you ever hit a mosquito on a bike? It's as if you got shot and you're just dead. It is hilarious how devastating a single mosquito can be.
We don't really have enough hair to keep us all that warm either.
No, we don't really have
especially
enough
some
anything
of us.
To like, especially if you have no back hair. Or that'll just make you hot on a hot day, I assume. Georgie Animal Steel back hair. Yeah. When it comes to that podcast, though, if anybody gets a chance, you should check it out. I like myself some Dinosaur podcast. It did pop up right away, and I was like, oh, shit, I got to go watch that. And then we jumped in here. It would be weird if I was listening to that while we're talking. Like, I feel like that would be rude. So, anything else?
I was into dinosaurs when I was a kid, back when they were giant lizards. Then they became giant birds.
Yeah.
I kind of lost interest a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, I did too. Like, science is the fun killer, man. It's needed, but when somebody's like, we're just gonna turn them into birds.
Giant chickens and turkeys just weren't as cool as like.
I saw Jurassic Park, giant fucking raptors, and then somebody's like, actually, the raptors are only a foot tall, and I'm like, fuck you
Thanks, man.
Chickens.
Do you want to ruin nuggets for me as well? Like the two things.
As if the nuggets don't have chicken in them. Come on. No. Yeah, I don't know. It just sort of sucks. It does. When I was a kid, I used to believe the Hollow Earth could be possible, like, because Indiana Jones went to it in one of the novels, like Indiana Jones and the Hollow Earth. Man. And I used to always be like, oh, man, what if there's like caves and civilizations down there? And blah,
or like
blah, blah.
the turtles, like in the books where it's like turtles moving around in the void of space.
Oh, yeah.
So each planet on the back of a turtle or something.
Also, that's from Jules Verne originally, the center of the Earth, the journey to the center of the Earth.
Yeah, journey to the center of the Earth. But I just want to point out that no, Johnny, that's way beyond what I'm talking about.
Super cool, man.
No, but Pluto being a planet, it sounds weird, but when Pluto was a planet and identified as one, my thought was there's probably life, or there could be life, because I was a kid, I didn't know enough about science. And then as you get older, they start ruining shit. They tell you it's too cold, blah, blah, blah. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson comes in and kicks the shit out of Pluto and is like,
he really had a thing.
Now it's a moon.
He
had it.
Killed
dude.
Pluto.
Yeah, I think he has an issue. I'm just joking. It's fine scientifically, but it did ruin. Yeah, he did drop it down. He swiped on that one and he's like, it's complicated. And then walked away. You're like, shit. Can't touch that one then. Burned it. Yeah. Burned it down to the ground. The tinder of planet.
It's like the name Adolf. It was pretty much killed after that.
Yeah, you're pretty much
nobody's out there naming their kids Adolf. Pretty much.
I mean, I'm trying to think if I've ever even heard. Yeah, I haven't heard of one.
Dude, but, I don't think I've ever met.
Some things are ruined for a while. But I mean, some things get away with it. Joseph Stalin. People still call their kids Joseph. Adolf just.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else? See, there's not many that have the what do you call it? The clout. I guess Genghis. I don't know. A lot of people. Somebody calls himself Genghis. That'd be a pretty spicy name right there too.
There'll be a ballsy,
he was also pretty popular guy with the Mongols still.
Yeah. You know what? I think when it comes to names, we put too much power in them. The idea that you can't name your kid that is pretty weird. It's pretty weird because we decide what words just magically are no longer okay. And I'm not talking about the word people probably think. I'm literally talking about names, that we've decided that can be. It's like, what we should do? We should prove that you can still be called that. And you don't the power of names is not something I believe in. Not all, if you have a certain name, are going to be a certain way. It's like, let's use it and reuse it enough times to where nobody gives a shit anymore.
But it will determine a great part of your high school experience. I mean, if you're called like something ridiculous, you're setting up your kid for some.
Well, I'm not talking about
years.
like whatever the new, starfighter pilot or whatever, like some movie star calls their fucking kids. But I mean, in that case, it's a person's name. I feel like if they had continued to just use it and demystify the whole,
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's such a giant issue that it's like, it makes sense. Like, I wasn't there. Obviously people were like, no, we ain't even, like, we're just basically saying this one thing. No. Judas, Oregon Fresh says, yeah.
Hey, and there are ways around it.
Jesus is used all the time.
Sure.
But Judas, yeah, I wouldn't call it kid. Cain is used. I've seen many people called Cain, which is an odd one when you think about it.
As a first name or is it most commonly okay.
Almost always a last name, but we had somebody in our school, the secondary school that was Cain. First name Cain, but it was Cane. It was like a cane that it wasn't Cain. It wasn't any special. It was literally like a cane. But I sort of Cain, Kane, like the bad guy in some movies.
Right,
That's definitely been used now that I think about it.
Command and Conquer,
yeah. I hadn't. Did Command and Conquer do the double rip Kain for his?
No, that was Kane.
Oh, it was K. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is going to sound weird. I don't know why, but when you do the double vowel, that's when I'm like evil. Right. So if somebody does Kane, I'm like, whatever. If they did like some weird French. Kie, I don't know what it is, but it's like I look at it, I'm like, that's the evil guy. That's the good guy. That's spelled, I don't know why, but it's like the double thing. It's like, bad guy for sure. Do we have anything else before we wrap this up as protection?
Silver and I have been watching Alien Earth. And I think both of us really liking it. Have you seen the latest one, Silver?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't as fond of that episode as the others. I still thought it was decent. And it certainly was. It's sort of Noah Hawley's version of an Alien movie.
It was, but I thought that was
as an Alien movie, good. It's better than Alien Romulus. I'll give it that much. But other than that,
it sounds like that's not much of a bar for you.
No, I had some issues with it here and there, but there were quibbles. I think there's a lot of stuff Hawley's doing really well in that show.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, I had to wrap this up 20 minutes ago because I got to take my dog into the bed. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much. Thanks to these guys for showing up. If you get a chance, check out Johnny's channel. Johnny Plays Live. If you stream tomorrow.
I might stream tomorrow. Might be doing some Hell Is Us on the channel.
He might not. You know,
might not, man. Opposite psychology.
Yeah. You got to subscribe to find out.
Seek me out, bitches.
Yeah, you gotta check them out. That'll be it for us. I want to say how much I appreciate it. These will go live on Spotify, iTunes at the end of the day. If you get a chance, I would love for you to hit subscribe on one of those, or thumbs up, or leave a comment. It always helps. And when this is done right now, could you please go in and leave a comment? Peace out, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.